Yeah, I'm just going live right away. Who cares? No countdown.
Okay.
I think that is it just us tonight?
I think so. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll make it work.
Yeah, that's fine. I gotta watch it anyway. Yeah, Kate scheduling that meeting for like an hour and a half before a city council meeting was like, that tells the whole story. But she literally said that she wanted the chief to come on to talk about all his issues with it. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what the chief did for about an hour and 15 minutes.
That sucks because I really did walk away, and I'm sure you had the similar conversations. I walked away coming back from that last meeting feeling as though there was some room for movement, like positive room for movement. I wasn't expecting, crazy things to happen, but it did seem like the chief was expressing at least a desire to play ball with folks who would like to see things move in a maybe slightly different direction than they have over the last 50 years in Worcester.
Yeah. I mean, so that's like what Tom Marino and John Keogh, who unfortunately are getting lumped in with David Webb now for just being like rude or whatever. We're actually like saying that and saying it well. And the chief has made changes, but
yeah.
Oh, hey Gus, what's up? But yeah, so the real thing was that Tom Marino was like, this subcommittee has done absolutely nothing over the last decade. Mm-hmm. And Kate Toomey took it super personal. Yeah, that part's interesting. If there wasn't a city council meeting about to start going, then I'd say we should rewatch it. But I'm gonna probably pull the whole video and make a clip show, because there was a lot of interesting moments there. It's almost like he went through all 19 of the recommendations and everything in the report and offered like a rebuke to every single little thing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was really interesting, but it's like, it's almost too much to like summarize right now. Like there's so many different things.
Were union officials there too, or was it just the administration?
It was just the brass as far as I could tell, but I'm sure that there was some union people in the
sure,
the wings. All right, I'm looking. It doesn't seem like we got. Oh no, we got it. All right. Pull the city council meeting up. So what we're talking about. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
It's just me and Brendan today, and we had to figure out how to get signed in. So we were just discussing the public safety subcommittee meeting that just happened and just ended abruptly. Oh, thank you, Camber. Bear had a great birthday. Just ended abruptly with David Webb getting tossed from the meeting after they got him and Kate Toomey got into a shouting match.
Really?
Yeah. She ordered him to be tossed, and then the clerk said, "We're just going to mute the microphone." And then Mo Bergman threw some shade his way, and then they decided to end the meeting 5 minutes early. And Leo Hayden just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But they also said that it's not, Mo Bergman said it's not the subcommittee's job to make judgments about the police. So, I mean, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? Yeah. Why would Kate Toomey bother? Well, the reason why she bothered was because she gave the chief the floor for about an hour straight to just, with prepared remarks, go through literally everything and offer some responses that we haven't heard yet or seen in writing that were extremely critical. One of the things was he alleged that they had student interns working on this. And Kate Toomey was like, whoa. Are you saying that they had students working on this DOJ report, not professional lawyers? So that's definitely the line that we're going to hear.
Yeah.
From the Crankstone. My cats are.
Hey. Cut it out. Bear. Cut it out. Quit being a dick. Bill, I feel like
He's a
that
dick
came up
sometimes.
at that community meeting that both you and I were at, where people, at least the group that I was in, I feel like someone asked that question to clear the air of who actually worked on it. Weren't they? I feel like the DOJ folks spoke to that the only people who worked on that report were people who were in that room for that meeting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I'd have to go back through the tape, but I have that whole thing recorded. Yes, Gus got some cake. In other news, Charles Luster posted a 5-year-old video of people doing like crack behind the freaking the village, and it has caused a whole stir. So that's great.
Bill, I'm not going anywhere on you. Just going to close the door real quick.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, David was like within his rights at first because subcommittee meetings.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Worcester City Council meeting.
More back and
please stand
forth
for
between the public and the committee members, or at least that's the idea. Oh, you know what I gotta do? I gotta play that. I gotta play that song.
Hello, Molly.
All right, so I made a techno remix of the national anthem, and I just gotta show you guys because I think it's a bop. And you know, if we had our act together, this might be our new intro music. So, but you know, clearly we don't. All right, you guys ready for this? My drive. Let's mute this. How's the volume on that?
Let's not tell Bill that we can't hear anything, but
no, you can't hear it. Oh, that stinks. Can you hear the city council meeting at least? Hold on.
Oh yeah, we hear them just fine, unfortunately.
Russell.
Oh, it didn't change the tab over? Oh, that stinks.
here before we go into the meeting. We just have a special award to give out tonight. Is Dia Canberry. If you want to come on up, if parents want to come, you're more than welcome. You're gonna take a film. You're gonna film instead. Okay. Come right up in front here. So Dia was named the Distinguished Young Woman Award.
I love a silent disco. You know what? I'll just drop the
So I'm
link
just gonna read this.
in the comment. It's set to public. Spread it around as much as you want.
Touring the Doring Memorial High School, managing an extensive schedule
Why
of
is Joe
5 different
screaming?
advanced placement courses, and as a member of the tennis and track teams, you have represented the Albanian community proudly with tremendous work ethic and aspirations for greatness. In recognition of your achievement as the first Worcester recipient of the Massachusetts Distinguished Young Woman Award and the award's 67-year history, it is only right and fitting that you receive
He's
the
yelling
city's
because he has a
highest honor.
distinguished young woman on her
Congratulations
hands.
on this well-deserved recognition.
I
wish you all the
I
best in
find
the years
this
to come.
parading around
distinct pleasure
of
to
the
present you
distinguished
with the
young
key to the
woman
city of Worcester
uncomfortable a little
in
bit.
recognition of
to
being
be honest
recognized
with
as
you.
the first recipient.
I mean, I'm
of the
sure it's
Massachusetts
a
Distinguished
great
Young Woman
honor for
Award
her and her
in the city
family,
of
but
Worcester.
what is that, right? Oh shit! Oh, I clicked out of it.
Fuck
I am
that
the-
meeting.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst at this shit. All right. Show on stream. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I mean, if we were thinking ahead, which we rarely are with this program, it would have been probably a better idea to watch the public safety subcommittee meeting than even the full council meeting. But I just figured out, like I found a website where you can take a URL of a video online and just paste it in, and it spits out like a decent MP4. Like you can just record the whole thing. So I might try to put together a little recap for the subcommittee meetings. It was very interesting. Wait, what's about viruses?
And I feel to say that the national competition will be in Alabama at the end of June, which might be on TV, and let us know. Let us know.
Joe just inserted 2 more R's into the word Alabama that I'm pretty sure exist.
Alabama. You can't get viruses anymore. That's a thing of the past. There's no such thing as computer virus. The NSA just does as mainstreamed. They just do all of it for everyone.
Okay, we're going to do a public participation. A person may speak for no more than 2 minutes.
This is the preferred spelling, Alabama.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Rule 39, items of public interest. At any meeting of the City Council on the public participation portion of the agenda, the chair shall recognize any person
The
seeking
sweet
such
home
recognition for the
Alabama.
purpose of addressing the City Council on any eligible item on the agenda for the meeting, both in person and remotely. Any person who wishes to speak on more than one agenda item shall combine their testimony to all items to one appearance at the microphone. The time for speaking shall not exceed 2 minutes for any one speaker or 30 minutes for all speakers.
Thank you. Okay, first speaker.
Thank
What's your
you.
name, see your residence, not even number?
Thank you. Fred Nathan, Worcester. Again, I'm going to bring up 12A, the item about the colleges having to contribute 0.5% of their
Trying to get the
some
chat
of the
going on the
funds that
city's
they
feed.
have in their endowment.
We'll see how it goes.
Let's face it, Worcester is just like every other city and state. They're going to be facing cuts. It's
I don't
inevitable.
know
So,
what
time
happened
that the college
to
would pay
David
their
after
way.
that. I think the clerk overruled to me on kicking
Another
him
item
out.
here,
But that's-
13A. This has been on the council agenda. This coming October, it will be 6 years.
I really want to make an El
Either
Salvador
move it
joke,
up,
but I know
move
that's
it
really
down,
just too
but,
fucking soon, Bill.
I mean,
So I'm
come
going to
on.
withhold from
Wait.
making any El Salvador jokes at
The
all.
item about the,
Yeah, that stuff's. I was catching
some
up on
sort of,
everything this morning, and wow.
keeping an eye on how much people are charging, for rent. There has to be some sort of rent control. Now I'm going to go back to my item, which is putting a traffic light in at the bottom of Bigelow Davis Parkway in Lake Ave. I mean, I understand this has actually been on some form or some committee for some time. Now, I know the council is just going to file it, but at some point, are you going to keep on filing items that deal with public safety? At some point, the city needs to find the money and deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with it. I mean, you want people to be killed, and as a result, because of the
my
fact that
God.
this is such a dangerous road, people travel on Coburn Ave when they don't need to, just to avoid that hill.
Thank you. What's your name, see your residence, and item?
John Edward Keough, Worcester. I'd like to talk about 9G. This will be a hearing that'll be held in a couple weeks for charter. I just want to point out again that I went back into your history, and of the last 37 public hearings that charter has had on this agenda, they have not had a representative present in
Oh,
the city
you can
council
share
chambers.
background audio.
And as I would like to point out, National Grid has. So we have
I
a
could have
company
that- I
at
could have
least
that-
is having
that
somebody
beat going
show
over
up.
the whole
There's a
thing.
representative from Verizon here the last 2 weeks. Charter does not respect the city of Worcester, and somebody has to start holding these items and demanding them come. The city manager is being forced to negotiate with a company that just consistently and regularly does not care about our city. As I pointed out last week, they opened a brand-new set of jobs down in Stamford, Connecticut, and
Yeah,
their
John
city,
Keogh's good.
leaders were saying how wonderful
We had him
committed
on
they are
the,
to the city
the
down there.
outdoor cats
One
to
of
talk about the
things that
DOJ
we
report.
talked about on the cable committee was the buildings that they were supposed to upgrade.
And him
like
and Tom Marino,
WCCA,
just
this
they
building,
they
the
really
Worcester
know
Tech
their
building.
stuff on
Never
this subject.
happened in 13 years. They upgraded the
Yeah.
entire city of Stamford.
Wait, is the
Every
audio
single municipal building
playing?
has been wired for fiber by Charter on their own dime. The city didn't pay a penny.
Oh, that's awesome.
Remember,
I have it queued up. I can
that
play
is
it
what is
whenever I want.
happening to other towns. Why don't we get the same thing? And why doesn't the majority hold them accountable publicly? So holding these things and forcing them to show up is at least a start to make them take you seriously and maybe give some ammunition to the city manager who is in negotiations right now. Again, the senior discount still not being held. So that's my last thing. We're running out of time. I don't want to get beeped. Bye.
Oh, we got in right before the beat.
What's your name, city of residence, and item number?
Jason Pincombe, Worcester. Regarding 13A, as many of you know, I serve as the Board of Realtors. I'm past chair of the Government Affairs. However, I just wanted to speak on 13A. Rent control was by a ballot initiative statewide in 1994, was made illegal statewide, and therefore rent control cannot be passed at a city level without state authorization, which would require a ballot initiative. So, as the previous gentleman said, do something with it. Unfortunately, it's illegal as a state law, so it can't be mandated in the city of Worcester or any other city in the state without a ballot initiative. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is rent control on this agenda in any way?
Name,
I don't
city
know.
of residence, and item number?
Hey, I'm Walt Yarborough, Worcester, and
take a look.
12F,
I'm taking a
which
look
was
right now.
tabled last week. Thank you. Just to update briefly, National Grid's representatives met with me, and to reiterate the issue, we are on a private street, Brimmer, and the only thing that's still standing above the grade of the street are the manhole covers, which are National Grid and then the Worcester Sewer. That's kind of up there, and that'll take the bottom out of any car coming through that road. So National Grid is doing work in the neighborhood. We were just trying to get them to dump some of their millings or raise, patch around their manholes, which are, 4 or 5 inches up. And so he met me, he said he'd do what he could. He seemed very surprised that plows go down that street. And I told him that one of these days, one of them's gonna catch his manholes and take them out. So, they're not, that's been tabled, so it's not here, but, I'll be here whenever they come back. That's it.
Do you live on Herman Street?
I live on Bremer Street. I'm actually on the end. This really doesn't affect me. This is much more of the, a rising tide lifts all ships, let's fix the road so for everybody else that lives down that street. And it's right next to Fairmont Park, so the Parks Department owns half of 3 of the
They have a
private
new
streets in the
provider for
neighborhood,
the
and they're in
website,
terrible
and it's
shape.
so bad
thank you.
compared to what
Thank
it
you.
was. Like for their record system management.
Hi, David Webb, City of Worcester.
They got rid of
regarding
the-
UNG discussing charter. I wish the city manager listened to the Charter Commission, but I also wish that they listened or considered recommendations made by the Human Rights Commission, the Women's Advocacy Board, or the Planning Board. So I guess the Charter Commission can take it personally. It's not them, it's the city manager. On the
Agenda
other
in
hand,
the
he
chat
does
for
need to
everyone.
listen to the Safety Commission, hence why we're discussing ShotSpotter today. So I don't know why we would pay so much attention to the Safety Commission. They don't seem to think ensuring that
Oh.
police officers are actually
There's a
creating,
tabled
safety
item
or
about
protecting
rent control from
constituents
Connie
rather than
Lukes
raping them. They're responsible.
from
We just
2019.
had a pretty in-depth
What did-
conversation
how did that
about what they
guy?
think their
How did that get on that
responsibility
guy's
is, and it
radar?
doesn't actually align with the description on the
You know what it
city
is? Because they're at the
So
end of
we
the
really need to
at the
care
end of
about
the
the
agenda,
management
and I'm
how
sure
these committees
people
are actually run.
who never look at the agenda
That being
look at the
said,
agenda and say, "Ah,
ShotSpotter, since
this
we're
is
gonna be
happening."
discussing that a bit
Right.
tonight, I know the
And
city
he
is
was just
trying
like,
to
I have
insult
to
itself
repeat
pretty
what I
hard
heard
on
at
it,
the
so we
Mass
can't go back
Landlords
now, but
Association.
ShotSpotter is ethically, logistically, and technologically flawed. It's based
Public
on the premise that
safety
people don't
was
trust the police
incredible.
enough to actually call them when they hear gunshots, which is
So
obviously true,
much to
because,
unpack there.
We don't have public safety. But since selling the city on it was his ticket to chief, he kind of
Big brother, I know you were there.
Chief Saucier kind of can't admit how much
what
of a
happened
mistake
to-
it
did
is
David
now
get
and seems to
kicked
be
out?
doubling down on automatically dispatching police to Main South and Lincoln Street. Because at its core, community safety is about metrics and numbers. What really matters to the chief is that he can say some things that the manager can repeat so everyone can pretend Worcester isn't an embarrassing mess. So thanks, ShotSpotter, ShitSpotter, whatever, for generating that data. However, since we never really did anything about the lack of police accountability, responsibility,
Yeah, but
or
like Tom,
integrity, I don't know when
Tom
anyone
yelling
expected
was
ShotSpotter
yelling
to solve.
about
As
like
we
good
just discussed
shit.
in safety committee,
And Mo Bergman
the Worcester Police doesn't write
painted
down things that can be used
y'all
against it or are not
and
helpful for it.
David with
So that is
way
why
too
it is
broad a
beneficial
brush.
to
You
them
guys
to
were
automatically
asking
dispatch places
legitimate
where previous
questions.
crimes
legitimate
happened rather
points.
than having to actually do their job or figure out where crime is. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? What's your name, city of residence, and item number?
Mike Kelleher.
I like in the Facebook comments how Colleen West's attack of David Webb
From Walter.
is inadvertently
Yeah,
an attack on
off
John
what
Piccolo.
Walter just said, we're having a lot of
It's
issues
like
with the
the
potholes
fucking
in the area.
Ouroboros of
Back in
Worcester's
July, I
worse.
Put $6,000 of my own money.
What did she say?
into
Oh, my
paving
God.
Greenwich Street, 30 feet of it. If I can do that, you know, a big company like National Grid could definitely help us and at least give them whatever fill-ins they have.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing nobody else? Support?
Thank you,
David
Mr. Mayor. We
hates
have
senior
one
citizens, and
calling
according to
user
him,
online.
deserve no
Athena, I'm gonna try and
respect
meet
nor
the resident
civility.
Please state your name and city residence.
Hi, my name is Athena Haddon. I'm a Worcester resident.
Love
I'm
Athena.
speaking tonight on 1035C. I support the resolution to accept and expand the 35,000 grant from
Yeah,
Massachusetts
Troubler,
Department of
I
Public Health and
am,
BSAS to develop and implement
monitoring
evidence-based
when the video
interventions
comes up,
to
and
help
if it does come
families
up,
with
then
children
we'll
0
pull
to
some moments
11 who
out.
are impacted by substance use disorder. But I'm also asking for transparency in the process and for
Since
the
it's
recovery
subcommittee, those things
community
don't
to
get,
be involved in the planning, the developing, and the implementing any new
they
substance
don't get
prevention services.
live streamed.
Thank you.
And the city's like video on
Okay, seeing
demand
nobody
takes
else,
a
we'll
lot
close that
longer
part of
than
the meeting.
Facebook Live.
So we have the elections of two residents to the Library Board of Directors. So we have one vacancy for a term expiring on December 31st, 2028, and one vacancy for a term expiring on December 31st, 2025. So these are people who have left the Library Board, so these are short terms, it's usually a 6-year term. So again, in December, I guess we'd have two positions opened again in December of this year, when we vote on that again. So what we'll do is, the city clerk she'll call a roll call of the city council, with each member indicating their preference for the available position. So we'll do December 31st, 2028 first, and we'll do.
Oh, yeah, Katie just got home.
2025 second. Okay. The person receiving the
So,
most votes.
you know,
will
we
also
gotta
receive 6 or
yell
more
at the
votes,
cats every time we
which
come
is
home.
majority of the full
Of
city
course.
council should be
7
elected to that
or
position.
8 nicknames.
Councilor Bergman, do you have a question? No.
Just want to be clear on the procedure. We're announcing two choices right now.
No, one. We're going to take
Okay.
2 votes. We're taking 2
I was
votes.
unclear. So we're
I
gonna
like
do
to
one
call
vote
Bear
and then
Mr.
another vote for the next
of
position.
And before we do that, we'll just welcome, if anybody
AKA.
wants to speak, who's here. We have Felix Franny of District 2, Danielle Babineau of District 3, Mary Chanelli from District 2, Juliet, I know, of Juliet Feibel, District 5, Quasi Foster from District 4, Russell Carlstead from District 5, William Wallace from District 4. Okay, if anybody wants to speak. you're
William
more than
Wallace,
have
let's
to,
go. Freedom,
but
baby.
If you want to say a few words, you're more than welcome for a couple minutes. Just your name and what district you're from.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you for having me. My name is Quisi Foster. I live in District 4, a couple rocks throw away from here up Main Street. I'm a legal scholar, a public servant. My
I
personal
love-
journey
I
and
love
professional journey,
the upgrade to my
portfolio
system where I have
uniquely
the beat
positions
now.
me
Oh, you know what else I put on it
to
recently?
bring a transformative leadership
Oh, wait, no, wait.
to the Worcester Public Library Board
You guys
of
know about
Directors.
that one.
I have overcome, systemic barriers, childhood. So me, P.C. Foster, I'm
So
deeply
sick.
committed to equity, education, and community engagement here in Worcester and the surrounding counties of Worcester County. My lived experiences which fuse me to apply to this board, ensuring public institutions and libraries remain inclusive and accessible to all people, and responsive to all the needs of the residents, particularly underserved and marginalized populations. Professionally, I bring a wealth.
All right, Brad,
of
I'll be back in
cross-sector
one
expertise.
second.
All right,
I'm a former
I'll be here.
employee of the city of Worcester.
I got to read the
I
comments
have
now.
Service in higher education, nonprofit, sector governance, workforce development.
Oh,
healthcare,
interesting. This
public
guy's running.
equity.
This is the other guy
I
running for
understand
D4.
policy, and institutional
Hey, before
strategy
I
and public
step away for a
management,
second, did Gary Rosen really
making
pull
an invaluable
papers?
asset
That's what I
involving
understand. Yeah,
forward-thinking
I heard that
Wow.
from more.
initiatives that align
Which I think
with
is
the city of
amazing.
Worcester's master
Yeah.
plan and strategic initiatives, as well
I
as
really
the
do think
vision
you
and
should
mission
nail
of
him
the
down
library.
for
My
a
leadership is
an interview,
grounded
though,
in
Bill.
empathy
Like a 60-minute
and
style.
strategic insight.
I,
My
even
record
just
of
if it's
civic engagement with
even if
a
it's
clear
just to have
vision
like a record of something, a conversation that
makes
you're
me
recording, not necessarily for a
and
podcast,
exceptionally
maybe just
well-suited
have
support
something down
for
the
city
line.
to help serve
Because
its
it's just, I
residents
don't know, man.
and
He,
elevate the Worcester Public Library
I've never
as a
seen
pillar of
Gary pivot
lifelong
hard,
learning and
but
community
he's one of those
connections.
people
I
that
have
like he can get
written
pulled in
many
different
hours,
directions based
studying
on what he's
using the
hearing.
Wi-Fi,
It would be great to actually
just
get him
get
early
college and
into
just use it as a
kind of lock in
resource.
some of his
Appointing
positions,
me
which have
PC
been
Foster is not only a vote of
remarkably
representation,
progressive
it's an investment in innovation,
since he
integrity,
started
and
winding
active
down his
service. Thank you for your time and consideration.
his time
Yeah.
on council.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you don't, just never call him that word.
I know.
We might be able to get some. I mean, we could probably get Gary Rosen on
I'm Mary
board with
Shania from
major
District
zoning
2.
reform.
I'm
Is he
applying
list?
for the 3-year unexpired.
Well, that's it.
term
He
on the
does
library
listen,
board of
and but he
directors.
also
I served
carries
on the board
votes
of
too.
Abby's
So it's
House
like,
during the renovation
and he
at
does the
52
work.
High
Like there's a
Street.
weird bit
I
of
worked
math
on the
there where,
capital
without
campaign.
putting together
While on
like
the
a
board, we were
slate
trained
or a
in board
coalition,
excellence by Gil
you stand a
Gifford,
good chance
author
of
Make Your
getting
Board Dramatically
more
More
votes
Effective.
in the
I
hands
was part of
of
the committee
newcomers,
overseeing the executive director's
more on the progressive side of
self-evaluation.
things,
My
just from
fundraising
Gary
experience working
existing.
closely on Hip Hip
But only if
Hooray
it's done
Springtacular.
perfectly. And
As a member of Worcester Friends
tough-
Meeting,
tough,
I have over 15 years' experience with
tough needle-
consensus decision-making. I'm a longtime member
Yeah,
of
I'll be
its
right back.
Buildings and
Yeah, yeah.
Grounds Committee responsible for property
Rosen
maintenance,
pulled for
including the
at-large shield.
$16,000 boiler replacement project. I'm a lifelong learner holding a Master of Arts and 2 undergraduate science degrees. Born in Ludlow, Massachusetts, I got my first library card at 5.
Colleen
At 11,
supports
a
the heavy hand of
librarian,
big government
knowing
doing
my love of
whatever
books,
helps her sleep
called
at
me
night.
over, saying, quote, "Come with me," and led
You
me
interpret that
upstairs
however
to
you
the
want.
adult collection. I felt so excited and proud. My world opened wide that day. I proceeded to patronize every library where my studies have moved me. As Worcester is the heart of the Commonwealth, so I believe Worcester Public Library is the heart of the community, and our book collection the heart of the library. The strength of our public library in one citizen, one city, one library allows distribution of diverse resources to all Worcester schools, teachers, and students. Citizens formed the Worcester Public Library Foundation to improve the visibility of the library and raise money.
Is there a shot clock for
crucial
people who
now in this
want a seat on the
political
library
climate.
board?
A nationally
know?
award-winning library celebrated for its community action and civic engagement, Worcester Public Library is a priceless institution. As such, it merits careful oversight by its board and the City Council. Worcester Public Library's basic objectives of providing information and promoting lifelong learning is critical as monies are cut for staff acquisition and maintenance. Ensuring historical and contemporary knowledge remain available to patrons from diverse backgrounds is increasingly important in today's political climate. Every resource must be allocated to ensure library staff and patron safety in the library. In accordance with library guidelines, I support the employment of licensed librarians, the right to privacy, and the free exchange of ideas throughout the system. I believe in the need of patrons to unencumbered access to library resources. If given the opportunity to serve this city on Worcester Public Library's board, I will uphold the vision and mission statements of the library. I ask Worcester City Councilors for your yes vote on my appointment.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm back. Oh, I thought I was sold out of these, but I have one more XL.
Hello, everyone. My name is
So,
Felix Afrani.
if you wanted
from
one,
District 2.
and you thought they were sold out, you can get
I'll
one.
keep mine pretty simple and sweet. I'm an immigrant where the library meant a lot to
I
me
hate it
growing
when
up.
they do this stuff in public.
I grew up in East Hartford, Connecticut, so I went to school at Assumption College, and I stayed. I have family that were here, that's why I went to college here. But my
Yeah, I
first
think Go Ahead has
memory
proven himself to
of
be
going to a
pretty,
library and
like,
getting my library card
reliably
myself,
good.
It meant a lot to me. It gave me a lot of resources.
Not
It
a
allowed me
leader
to
by any stretch of the
see
imagination,
technology
but
around me
pretty
that I
good.
wouldn't have had, and also access to books that I may not be able to have. So later on, as I went to college at Assumption, when I graduated, I decided to start a nonprofit, Anansi Inc., which was dedicated to give back to the youth. As I was learning more in the corporate world, I wanted to empower the youth as well. Outside of that, I'm an avid entrepreneur where I invest in the city through real estate, rehabbing, buying, selling, all that. So I had a child last year,
You flip
and
properties.
that changed my perspective on a lot of things. The first trip she took outside of the home was to the library. So besides that, I decided to, you know what, how else can I make an impact? I decided, you know what, when I saw this opportunity,
How can I be
I just
even
wanted to
more
make sure
perfect?
I'm a part of it and be able to kind of keep giving forward as he gave to me, because it played a huge role in my life and being able to get me to where I am today. Thank you.
Thank you. Danielle?
Oh, this
Good
is.
evening.
Look at this. Look at this, Brendan.
My name is Danielle Babineau, and I
Pulling a
am
page right out of
District
Elon
3
Musk's
resident
book.
and former CEO of Redemption Rock Brewing Company.
Human shield
I'm applying
right
for the
there.
library board of directors. My interest in serving on the
This
library
is-
board of directors comes both from
I mean,
my
if you don't vote, this-
appreciation
this
for
person
the
in.
Worcester Public Library, libraries as institutions, as well as
Fred is
believing
not
that
impressed.
through my experiences and skill set, I would be
Yeah.
more than able to contribute. in a
Fred's like, I'm the
positive
only
and
baby
meaningful
allowed
way.
in here.
I've enjoyed spending time at the library with my son in the children's room.
Magnificent
utilizing the
mullet,
children's
too.
programming.
Start 'em
using the
young, I
printer,
always say.
Getting tickets for cultural institutions, attending community events, and learning new skills. Libraries are such essential community resources that need to be appreciated, celebrated,
He's got a cool
and
mullet.
protected for what they are and what they offer. I
That's a
think that
cool
I would
kid.
be uniquely suited
Yep.
to a board seat because of my broad skill set as an entrepreneur dedicated
Gio,
to
I'm interested in
community,
hearing
creativity,
more about
and
that.
inclusion. My background
I
is in architecture.
don't think anyone
And
has-
I have an MBA from Babson
think I've had that
College.
conversation with anyone.
And spent the last decade building and running Redemption Rock Brewery, which was a small craft brewery, and B Corp, which is basically a company that is built on giving back to the community, workers, and the environment. Personally, I think that I have a knack for organization, creative thinking, problem solving, communication, and working with other people, and really building community from all directions and working with people. And I
Anyone
think
tracking
that,
the child?
it would be an honor to serve on the library board and be able to contribute to the running of such a wonderful institution that's given so much to me and so many others in the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well done. Let's go.
Friends, I'm Juliet Feibel, District 5, seeking the 3-year term. I stood for the library board a few years ago, and I stand here again. And I am not here because the library board is a springboard for running for office or
Imagine
because I
Mo
don't have
getting,
enough to
like,
do. I'm not even standing here for the former
swarmed
library
by,
board
like,
members who asked me to do
50
so,
children.
although I thank them for their confidence high out there. Yes, you know who you are.
I'm just kidding.
I am here again
that's-
because I believe that the
that's not a
library
threat.
is our city's most important
It's a
cultural
comedic situation
organization,
that I'm picturing
and
in
that
my
now it is its most vulnerable. Libraries have never been as important as they are right now. I'm here because I believe in the library's director and his extraordinary staff and think they deserve competent and knowledgeable advisory board members. Our residents need the library system to be supported and advised as well. Should my professional reputation that I earned leading Arts Worcester not speak for itself, the short version is that I bring outstanding skills in finance, governance, facilities, and public relations. I have expertise in endowments, restricted funding, staffing, program operations, and serving a broad and diverse public. Significant expertise is terming off the library board in the next 2 years, and I am here to offer more of it. Our library, its directors, and the 60-some people on its staff deserve board members who understand what the library does and how things get done within an organization and within the city. They deserve people who show up and who do what they say they will do. If you all believe that there are two candidates, whether now in December, that are better suited to serve our library, then I thank you for your consideration. If you believe I would provide outstanding citizen oversight, advice, and service to the library, then I thank you for your vote. And in closing, I would ask that all of you out here
This
and in
is
the
Juliet
online
Fievel.
who are listening to these remarks,
Juliet
call
fan.
your congressmen and your senators and ask them to restore the funding
Yeah.
that has already been
Juliet,
appropriated to the Institute for Museum and Library
not
Services, and
like
tell
the
them
way
you value
that I read
public
about,
libraries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Palestine in a few instances that I have. But
Recognize
got
Laura
some
Miller, who's
very
the board
nasty
chair-
emails.
chair.
But
So,
other than
Laura,
that, it's
thank you
fine.
for being here. Kara, thank you for being
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Well, I mean, I
So,
think that if anything,
let's
that's
go
the
through
thing
this
that I
again.
like about
We'll
Juliet,
take the December
is that
31st,
she is so strong in her
roll call.
convictions that she will in
So
fact
we
cut
take
you
two
if you
separate
cross
votes.
them. But in a
Right.
polite
So
way.
just
Like
name
she'll
the
be
person
so
that you wanna
polite
vote
and
for.
formal where you'll still
from
want to like call her Miss
Questions?
Juliet while she's cutting you.
Roll call.
Council Bergman?
Yeah.
Mary Shinali,
Did I get
Council
grants
Gloria?
for her
Mary
agency?
Shinali.
What does that
Council
mean?
Ajay?
Quissy Foster.
Oh.
Council King?
One vote, right?
Yes.
One vote, correct.
Quissy Foster.
Councilmember Carlson?
Quissy.
Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
William Wallace.
Council Pasillo?
Juliet Feibel.
Council Russell?
Danielle Babineau.
Aren't there like two
Council
vacancies
Toomey?
for this board? Why do
And Mayor Petty.
they have to vote in public
Julia
for this
Feiber?
stuff?
Okay, so we have no winner. So we'll do that again.
I can't think of a better way to start
So we have no
Like,
winner because we didn't have 6
weird
votes, so.
towny drama than having to vote
So
in
just to
public
let you know,
for
Mary.
who sits on the library board.
Now we got
So basically, for the next, because we didn't have Russell Carson did not receive any votes, and Felix did not receive any votes. So we'll just,
eliminate them for this one?
I think so, because technically it says remove the candidate who received the least number of
Yep,
votes.
okay. So those people know that Mary Chinawi got 5 votes, Juliet got 2 votes, Quasar got 2 votes, William Wallace got 1, and Danielle got 1 vote.
So for this one, Felix and Russell Carlson have been removed. So we can go again. Council Bergman,
Mary Shinali,
Council Caloria,
Mary Shinali.
Council Ajay,
Quissy Foster.
Council King,
Quissy Foster.
Councilmember Carlson, Council Nguyen, Council Ojeda,
William Wallace.
Council Pasillo,
Juliet Feibel.
Council Russell,
Shinali,
Council Toomey,
Jack, teasing the
And Mayor
tea
Petty.
which must not be spilt.
Mary Chinawi.
Okay, in this case, Mary Shinali's got 6 votes, so she will be the candidate for the December 31st, 2028 term.
Mary
Okay, we're going to
Shinali.
now take a vote for the term expiring on December 31st, 2025.
If Mary Shinali
It's the
was
same process
Bergman
as
and
last time. We
Glorio's
start
first
fresh.
pick,
We have all
that
7
means that she's the
candidates.
worst
Just
one.
announce one name. Council Bergman,
William Wallace,
Council Calorio,
Felix Safrani.
Council Hajiai,
Quissy Foster.
Council King,
Quissy Foster.
Council Merrill Carlson, Council Nguyen, Council Ojeda,
William Wallace.
Council Pasillo,
Juliet Feibel.
Council Russell,
Danielle Babineau.
Who was the
Council
one with the
Toomey,
baby?
William Wallace.
and Mayor Petty.
Felix Safrini?
All right, so in this case, no one got 6 votes, but we are going to eliminate Russell Carlstead because he did not receive any votes. We also have Mary Shinali, which is already selected, so. So right now, for the next ballot is Russell Carlstead and Mary
That's
Shinali
Danielle.
have been removed from this ballot. So Council Bergman?
William
Wait a
Wallace.
minute, excuse me, could we have the tally?
Sure.
This is
William Wallace got
absolutely
4 votes. Boozy
brutal
Foster
is the
got 2
right word
votes.
for it, for everyone involved.
Juliet got 1 vote. Danielle got 1 vote, and Phyllis got 2 votes. We eliminated Mary
Russell.
Shinali and Russell Kirstead. Cowstead.
Council Bergman?
William Wallace.
Council Calorio?
William Wallace.
Council Agia?
Quissy Foster.
Council King?
Quissy Foster.
Councilmember Carlson? Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
William Wallace.
Council Basillo?
Juliet Feibel.
Council Russell?
Danielle Babineau.
Council Toomey?
George loved that baby.
Mayor Petty.
And Juliet Feibel.
This is the incredibly
So
important
maybe we have
work.
to go again at this point.
I mean, there could be a 5-5 decision.
We have William Wallace with 5 votes, 1, 2, 3, 4,
On
5.
who
We
sits
got
on the
Quissy
library
Foster
board,
with 2 votes.
which had 2
Juliet
vacancies.
Feibel with 2 votes, and Danielle
And is
with
for
1
some
vote.
reason like not just
In this
appointed like every
case,
other
Felix
board?
did
Like
not get any
what is
votes,
going on with
So
this?
we drop also Felix. So we have Russell Carlstud, Mary Shinali, and Felix has been dropped off from this ballot. Start again, Council Bergman.
William Wallace.
Council Calorio,
William Wallace.
Council Hajiye, Council King,
Quissy Foster.
Councilmember Carlson, Council Nguyen, Council Ojeda,
William Wallace.
Council Basillo,
Juliet Feibel.
I should have a Katie makes dinner
Russell,
with the cats
Danielle Babineau.
camera. I mean
Council Toomey,
mic out there.
and Mayor Petty.
William Wallace.
Okay, in this case, William Wallace has.
If this
received
is such an
6
important
votes.
part of a counselor's job, they should be
December
required to submit a
31st,
book report
2028.
on the last 3 books that they have
Sorry,
read
the 2025.
to be eligible, along with their signatures,
Okay, thank
to be
you,
eligible to
everyone,
run for
and,
council.
Please, next year, if you didn't make it, please vote, and sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times, so.
Donna
you.
Calorio probably reads some absolutely filthy books.
It's all 50 Shades fan fiction. That's all she is just subbed to the 50 Shades fan fiction subreddit, and that is all she consumes.
She hasn't read a book
Okay,
that
we
wasn't
have
written
hearings
by
and
an
orders.
AI since
Motion to open the
2021.
hearing. All those in favor of postal order, we have 8A. We also have 12F.
I mean, George Russell says
Russell?
almost every meeting that he doesn't read the reports. So
You held 12F last week, so, oh, you held 12, okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I know Council Russell held this last week on Heman Street. We have a pretty large project that's taken place up here in the Poet Hill area. You're well aware.
got
I
my
know the
taxes
manager
down to
certainly
just
is
$500.
well aware,
$500
as well
I
as
won the government.
The
So,
commissioner
nice work.
of DPW.
I did it all yesterday. It
I've
was
said this
terrible.
from day one when this project was coming through the process. This is a project that is, quite honestly,
be a
it's
sole
extremely
proprietor, they
large
said.
for the
Did you do it
area,
yourself, Bill?
It'll be fine, they
where
said.
this
Yeah.
project
Well, I
is.
used a
All
website.
of
But
those streets in this
Is this your
particular
first year
area, they're
filing
all private
as a sole
streets.
proprietor?
And as
No.
we
No, you've done it before.
continue
Say if you're paying anything, I say this to
to
people all the time. If you're
have
paying
the
anything at all,
utility
or like
companies
anything over
going
$200
there,
bucks,
the construction
take that $200
companies
bucks
going
and
in
pay an
there,
accountant
the
to
contractors
get you
going
get you
in
down to
there.
zero.
Keep in
Yeah,
mind
yeah,
that
yeah.
we as a city
Like there are
did
so
not
many
allow
deductions out there now
for
that
several of the contractors to be traveling on most
Yeah.
of these private streets. And that was
yeah,
for
I
a
was
reason.
doing a lot of
I
homework.
would ask at
on
this point
1099
if
Ks.
the administration could
One of the questions I was asking,
contact,
do I
National Grid.
really?
And
Do I really? But then I was like,
honestly,
yeah, I
we
probably
should be doing something
really
for
gotta
those
file this?
roads up there. Those roads up there, yes, they are private.
But then you
quite
think about that too long, you
honestly,
get scared,
Without
so
all of
I
the
did.
construction and without all of the utility work, and the utility folks are using
Angry porch singer about my
massive
only
equipment
business expense.
on these roads. They are destroying them. They weren't in great shape to begin
Just
with.
kidding.
and
I
as you
have
heard from one of the
a great
individuals
business
who lives
expense.
there,
His name is
Michael,
Sean Connolly.
He spent
He writes a column once a
$6,000
week. It's called
redoing
Bad
one of
Advice.
those roads up there. And to have the utility companies come in and just, quite frankly, by the size of the equipment, they're destroying those roads. So if they're looking to go in there, I would ask for the administration to talk to the utility companies and see if they can't drop some fill in there, because they are going to take off some of those manholes that are up there. And I would challenge any one of my colleagues to go up there and take a look at where this project is taking place. And every single one of those roads around that project is private, and they're not in good shape. I know that the commissioner has been up there as well, but again, my ask is for the
Candy shirt
administration to talk with the
is
utility
like-
companies and see
I'm
if
trying to
there
figure out the
isn't something
pattern.
that they could do to prevent any further damage
It's like-
for the folks who live in that area. Thank you.
Psychedelic
Okay, so
deviled
we're gonna
eggs.
vote for this then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anybody else? So motion is to close the hearing. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Motion is to approve. Motion to adopt. Roll call.
What item, Mr. Chairman?
What's that? On 12, on 8A and 12F.
Could be slices of lemons or limes.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council Agia?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Carlson?
Yes.
Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Toomey?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Yes. Okay. We have petitions 9A to 9F. Refer those to traffic and parking. Those in favor? Opposed, so ordered.
Mr. Chairman,
Before doing so,
prior to doing so, 9F, Mr. Chairman, there currently is 3 items in traffic and parking in terms of installing a traffic light at the intersection of Bigelow, Davis Parkway, and Lake Ave. So I would ask for this particular item to be filed. And this is in no way trying to prevent any safety concerns over there. I would just, again, point out that there's 3 items that are currently in traffic and parking that read the identical way that this item reads. So if I could file this item.
Very
Thank you.
strange glitch here. When you try to
roll
pull up
call on
the
9F.
standing committee meeting, it just plays the city council
Motion to
meeting on a
file.
different screen.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
At least that's what's
Council
happening on
Calorio?
my
Yes.
computer, but
Council
I'm also
Agia?
sharing the
Council King?
screen.
Yes.
Council
Sharing my
Carlson?
screen, so maybe
Yes.
that's.
Council
There
Nguyen?
is more?
Council Ojeda?
I don't know.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Toomey?
Yes.
Mayor Petty.
yes, petitions 9A through 9E. Anybody here for those petitions? Seeing nobody, motions to refer to traffic and parking. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. 9G to 9H, set a hearing for April 29, 2023. 2025, I'm sorry. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Appointments, transmitting information, communication, for the reappointments of Francisco Valdez and Jason Pincom to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board of Trustees. Jason, thank you, and for serving. Everybody else, thank you for serving. Motions to place on file. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Okay. We are recommending the appointment of Alana Rosenbaum to the Citizen Advisory Committee, and recommend the reappointment of Pablo Santiago and Deborah Gonzalez to the Advisory Commission on Latino Affairs. Take those collectively on a roll call. Roll call.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council Agia?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Carlson? Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Toomey?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Yes, if you don't mind, I was asked to take 11A out of order. That's the report of the planning board. That's going to go to the Economic Development Committee. That's okay. Any questions? 11A, we're going to refer that to Economic Development. This report on the planning board.
Yes, Mayor.
Councilor Ojeda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, just had a conversation with Bernstein, and just wanted to make sure, sorry, Bernstein, I apologize. Just again, just making sure within District 4, developers understand, just having these conversations with the people in the neighborhood. We agreed to making sure that after it goes through the planning board, to have a neighborhood meeting and discuss about what the project is coming forward. So I just want to make sure it's on record, and that, we look forward to continue building those relationships. So thank you.
So it's going to go to ED. All those in favor? Opposed? So ordered. Okay. We are on 10.10A, transmitting information communication relative to the Tree City USA Award. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Mr. Antonelli,
guys.
good job. Any questions on that? All those in, okay, we'll file that. All those in favor? Unless you want in committee, Council Pasillo?
I'm neutral on it.
Okay, we can file. All those in favor? Opposed? So ordered. Transmitting information communication over the improvements of the tennis courts at Newton Square and Elm Park. Councilor Colorio?
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few words about this. I was glad to see this on the agenda. I'm glad to see the report out on it. That I grew up near Newton Square, and I think I played tennis in those tennis courts when I was 11 years old. Played all the way through high school. It was a great way to learn the sport, and I still play tennis. One of the things I was wondering is in the report.
So
and
Archer
I know,
Acquisitions,
my
it looks like
colleague
they
has
bought a
mentioned it
lot of
before,
property, but it's all
really
the
something that I
same
think we have to
property.
take a little bit more seriously, that
It's just a
pickleball
property
now
that's
has
on
become the
a
new,
bunch of different
you know,
streets.
sport of many people.
And it is
And
the
I'm not sure if
insurance
there's any-
building
I don't know if Mr. Antonelli
that's
can,
across the
say
street
if
from the
there's any room at the
library.
square tennis courts to put
Or
some
no, wait.
pickleball courts in there? If you
No,
did
it's
a
the
revision,
apartment
if you
building that's
did
just
like
across
a-
the street from the
something
R&B.
there, or is there something in the future for pickleball?
So.
Mr. Antonelli.
Mr. Antonelli?
Through the chair.
My
Through
feed's
the
not
chair to
choppy
the
at all.
counselor, there
No,
is no
let's go to my
room
end.
for additional courts without major renovations. due
Which
to
is a
the
surprise, 'cause
topography
usually it is.
Of the site, with the hills coming down and the walls that are there.
'cause I got
What we've
this-
done
this
in other
Mac Mini that Brendan
locations,
made me buy.
Holmes Field and others, we've
So fucking
laid
awesome.
out
Best computer I ever
pickleball
had.
as a secondary, secondary form on the existing tennis courts.
Right.
And so it doesn't, it's just the pickleballs are much smaller, but there's really no room there for an additional court. But we would do something along those lines to be able to solve that problem. The manager's also having us look at some other locations as well. So we're looking at where else we can put one. We do have one scheduled for Mulcahy
Brendan,
Field.
Yes.
What does
when we
government
finalize
guaranteed
the
rent
renovations
roll
there
mean?
At a later point in time.
Government
Okay, thank you. And
guaranteed
through the
rent
chair,
roll.
just one more
I have no idea.
question
What's the
to Mr.
context?
Antonelli. Is somebody-
Archer
because
Acquisitions
they- I
got
get
a
asked this
17-unit
lot, and I don't really
multifamily,
know the answer to
and
it.
they
If
are
someone wanted
advertising
play
to their
tennis,
investors
like,
that it
let's
is
say
government
Institute
guaranteed
or
rent roll.
Crompton
I'm gonna guess
or
it's some
Newton
sort of
Square,
subsidized
do they have to go
housing.
online and
Yeah.
reserve a court, or do they, because I know some of the schools.
Nice
use
system that we got
courts
here,
as
that all
well.
of our
What is the
housing-
best way to reserve a court, or
All of our
to
housing
be able to
policy
play
is based
tennis
on
these
bailing
courts?
out landlords, subsidizing
Through
the
chair to the counselor.
landlords.
So tennis, pickleball is usually a first come, first serve. If they want to guarantee their ability to play at a certain time, 2 o'clock on a Saturday or whatever that may be, then the recommendation would be is to have a permit from the parks office for that purpose. Otherwise, it's go to the site, see if it's available. If it is, you're welcome to play. If not, you would wait till one of the groups that are already there would leave.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Council Pasillo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to Councilor Colorio for suggesting pickleball, and thank you to DPW, Mr. Antonelli. We've been talking about pickleball a lot in Parks Committee, and I'm happy to add a friendly amendment to this when it gets sent back to my committee, just requesting more consideration for pickleball, whether it's line painting and, you know, speaking to neighbors, because I know that pickleball can be loud sometimes, which is one of the issues, but I'm happy to include that in here. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Russell?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just ask for a separate report from the administration of a timeline for what I've been asking for it seems like a lifetime. The tennis courts in Blythewood that have been in disarray for years, and it's the last piece there. So I'll ask for a report from the administration for that because we'd like to see it.
Okay. Anybody else? So we'll get the two reports and also send this to the Parks Committee. Those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Next item is transmitting information communication relative to Arbor Day 2025. Looking forward to that. Thank you. At the end of April. So I'm going to place that on file. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Next item is transmitting information communication relative to ShotSpotter contract.
There you go.
Public safety. Any questions on that? Public safety. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered.
Fuck.
Next item, transmitting information communication.
No one had any
report
questions on that?
2024 hate crimes.
Really?
The public safety.
What's
Report,
that?
Chief. Much
They just
appreciated. Those in favor,
fucking
opposed, so
breezed right
ordered.
by ShotSpotter. No questions.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. Huh. That's interesting.
Okay, we have finance items. We have 35A through E, 36A through F.
I suppose we have been knocked back a few pegs.
10.37A and B. Well,
There's
motion's adopted
bigger
on the
fish
roll
to
call.
fry than
Roll call.
police
Council Bergman?
technology.
Yes.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council GA?
Yes.
Like
Council
due
King?
process.
Yes.
Council
Due
Mark Carlson?
process.
Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Toomey?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Yes. Next item is transmitting information communication relative to the proposed disposition of the 51 and 61 Cedar Streets. You can file that, I guess. I'll send it to committee. We'll send that to committee. Public Works, that's where that was, I believe. Is that where it was? Okay. We'll send that to Public Works. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Table items. Counselor, we can take these together, or?
Damn, they're breezing through this.
Okay. Order of Council Candy Merrill-Carlson, Mayor Joe Petty, that the City Council place before the voters on November 4th, 2025 municipal election the following non-binding ballot question. Do you support requiring our private colleges and universities to invest 0.5% of their endowment annually into a community impact fund to be administered locally to help finance needed housing, economic, and community development projects? Request the manager consult with this Worcester Regional Research Bureau and the Greater Worcester Community Foundation to research examples of local community impact funds or loan pools currently in existence and their manner of operation within the United States. Next one is request the manager meet annually with each president and board chair of the city's private colleges and universities in an effort to create more of an open dialogue between the city and its colleges and universities. And the last one, request the manager work with the city private college universities to establish representation of the city of Worcester residents on their boards.
I believe that it's
Their
detailed
representatives
pay
should be appointed by the
for
city manager
city
and
council
approved by the
meetings, but
city
I am
council.
not sure about that.
Councilmember Carlson.
I really think it depends on the
Thank
day.
you,
Sometimes
Mr.
they do
Chairman.
send down details if they're expecting problems, but
first,
there are cops that
I'd
are
like
issued
to say that
de-
this is in no
assigned to
way
downtown.
a slight
Right.
to
And oftentimes
any
they'll
one
just
of
walk
our
through as part of their
colleges and
or hang out
universities.
as part of
I
their
think we all
normal
know,
assignment.
what they bring to the table and what all of the students and faculty bring to the table here in the city of Worcester. Mr. Chairman, this is about, in the past
Good point,
12
Ben. I wonder
months,
if Candy mentions that at all. Probably not.
that Worcester residents and city officials witnessed 3 local colleges with little or no advance notice whatsoever purchased 3 major pieces of property in the city of Worcester, which translated into $64 million. That $64 million, Mr. Chairman, translates into $1.8 million in terms of tax revenues. So we have lost $1.8 million in tax revenues that each year this council always has to struggle with, making sure that we can do what we can for our residents at the same time as making sure that our local mom and pops and our businesses also have the ability to do business here. Mr. Chairman, at the rate that this is going, this city cannot sustain what's happening with our colleges and universities. And just a few months back, I had put on the order for the institutional zoning, which my understanding is we should have that back fairly shortly, which certainly will be helpful to us to know what is happening. But as I looked and did some research, Mr. Chairman, since 2020, there's over 30 pieces of property that the colleges and universities have taken off the tax rolls. Again, the people of Worcester, all of the residents here, we can't sustain this kind of negative impact going forward. So that's the
crazy to
reason
talk about
for,
the negative,
for
this negative
item.
impact.
And I do believe
Not the HUD cuts,
that Order 12A,
not the
that
Medicare cuts.
myself and yourself, that the City Council placed before the voters at the November 4th, 2025 municipal election to the following non-binding ballot question: do you support requiring our private colleges and universities, again, to invest? This is not a tax. This is not the pilot program, which is payment in lieu of taxes. This is asking these colleges to invest in this city. And when I say invest, we, every single week, just about, we raise the question about
I don't think these
have
people
enough
really
of
understand how
housing.
anything works.
I think that this is
at all.
a great opportunity for us to look at.
They literally have
Is
no
this an
incentive to,
opportunity
you know?
for
No.
colleges and universities to invest in housing with the
If you want people
city
to
of
invest in the city should start issuing
So that
bonds or
goes
some shit,
along
right?
with
Like,
item
that's not,
12B,
you're just
which
begging for
is
money.
asking
Or
the
trying to
manager
strong arm
to
them in a
consult with the
completely
Worcester
comical way.
Regional Research Bureau
Yeah, with
and
no
the Greater
arm.
Worcester Community Foundation to research.
I feel like with this
examples of
council, we're
local
one
community
recession
impact
away from
funds
somebody
or
suggesting that
loan
we take the
pools
entire
currently
city
in
budget and
existence.
just bring it to Foxwoods
And I
and put it all on red.
as well as you, Mr. Chairman, that there are other
It's like it's Groundhog Day for whether
funds
we
like
have a
this
school
that's
system,
happening.
right? Yeah,
And
if we hit
again,
red,
if you
then
look at item 12E, I'm sorry, 12C, the thought that we have over 300 board members in the city of Worcester sitting on our colleges and university, and there's 6 individuals from the city of Worcester. I think that that speaks volumes. And that's why
What?
I think it's really important for the city manager to meet with these colleges and universities.
Yeah, Benny and Camber, that's the
I
whole
think
point. It's like
important for us to have a seat
endowments
at the
can't be
table.
touched. They're paying for
So the
chairs,
ask
they're
is
paying for
one
departments,
individual to
whatever.
be on that,
It's not money that
board,
it's like having a
each
trust.
board of the colleges. And that is something that will be done through the city manager's office, and through the approval through this council. And again, I think, Mr. Chairman, if you look at what has happened in the last year between Holy Cross and you look at WPI, and I know that there's, you know,
And when you get
some
into the weeds
talk
and
that
what
people would like this to go to
the
committee.
colleges, especially around here, actually
Well,
have for
I'm
free cash. It really
here
comes
to
down
tell
to what they
you
charge
that
for
the
tuitions
last
and
item
fees.
from WPI
And
that
every
went
college
to
in the city
committee,
is bracing for
the city
next fall the
clerk
start of
sent a
what's the
notice to
predictive sort of
WPI
enrollment
to
cliff that
attend
every
those
college has been
meetings,
preparing
of
for. So
which
that free cash
they
is going to start
refused to
dwindling,
attend those
while
meetings.
expenditures are going through the
So,
roof
Mr.
because of
Chairman,
huge
I
cuts
do
in
not
federal
believe
grants
that
that
we
most
should
colleges
go
aren't
to
even
committee,
really fully aware of. Like the stuff that's in
because, quite
publicized, like
frankly,
Harvard,
and the
that's because the
clerk has
government's trying to make a big
records
show about it.
of
Most colleges
when
are
the
just finding
Economic
out by trying to
Development Committee
access grant dollars
met,
that the grants
and
have been
the
revoked.
Economic Development Committee sent an invitation
and
to one of these
the
institutions
chilling effect
who
of all
made
the
a
student
decision.
deportations on the
And
only
again,
students who pay
being
full tuition.
WPI
right?
Correct.
and
Actually
being
paying
that
cash,
They took
yeah.
2
Yeah.
hotels off of the
Well, and there's the whole other side to that as well
tax
too, is
rolls.
that
And again, we know that
most
that
colleges are
translated
referring
to
huge slowdowns or
$1.5 million.
shutdowns of their access to the
Again,
FISA portal on their side.
1.5,
FAFSA
1.8.
portal, I'm sorry.
The number keeps adding up,
the,
Mr. Chairman. So
So it's totally up in the air as to whether or not
firmly
that's being
believe
mucked with
in
too, and what
all
they
of
can
these
expect
audits.
next
I know
fall
this
for both
council over the last
government
several years
payouts for financial aid as well as Pell
tried
Grants.
to do several different iterations of something like this, but I do think,
Yeah.
you know, for us as a city, I think it's time for us to challenge ourselves as well as challenge the colleges here.
You are
in the
100%
city of
spot
Worcester.
on there,
Thank you,
big
Mr.
brother.
Chairman.
It's
Yeah.
that's literally what's happening is they feel like they're getting cut out of the program, and their
Timmy
relevancy
Murray, Mikey Angelini.
relevancy is waning, and the colleges are the only thing that they left for them to fuck with.
Yeah. Remember when everyone was as angry as we were about a completely legal purchase of two failing hotels? Let's
Mr.
have
Chairman,
Candy Merrill
and,
Carlson rekindle
agree
it.
with what Councilor Merrill Carlson had to say.
God,
Oh,
I
totally
agree.
Miss Muffet. Like,
When I
yeah,
read the order,
especially in
and
Mass,
it's
where like a lot of
the
our systems are based on
city
pay
was
as you
on
go
this order.
systems. So like expenditure has been made.
good
There's no
idea.
guarantee that money's going to come back in.
It's not a tax. You're asking for an investment in the future of the city of Worcester. It's also a return on investment. So you could invest into this fund, but there's also a return that you could get and get your money back, if not more, depending on the project. And this is important as we go into looking at housing, economic
God.
development.
I
all the
expect it from
projects
Candy,
in
but
the city of
Joe,
Worcester.
Where's
Let
your
me be
where's your
clear, too,
political freaking
our college universities, I think,
acumen
a real
here?
asset to the city of Worcester. Always has been, always will be. And going forward, we need those. And the truth of the matter is, we wouldn't be here today where we are without the colleges and universities with us. I remember Constantina Hooks was here on the city council. We didn't agree on much, but when she got up and said, our colleges are important to the city of Worcester, that we should meet with them, talk to them. And I know in this particular case, I think we have these other three items we can send to the manager, and you can talk, and this one we can also discuss in the meantime. But I'm going to vote with Councilmember Carlson on the first item, and also send the rest to the city manager on these three other items, because I think it's important for the future of Worcester as we go through tough times. We recognize the tough times, not just here, it's going to be in the city of Worcester, but on a national level. And also the college universities are going to be going through a tough time. It's like UMass Chan building today, and the governor was there talking about NIH and some of the cuts that they already have.
That's why we need to punish them?
Tough times, folks.
So we have to come together as a city, work with our partners, and move the city forward. Thank you.
We're here to make it tougher.
Councilor George Russell, District 3, followed by myself, and then Councilor Haji, District 5.
Mr. Chairman, probably about a year ago, I remember standing at this desk and talking about the city of Providence. Probably the only time in my 14 years on the council that I ever talked about something that Providence was doing a lot better than Worcester.
Oh, fuck off,
And it
dude.
was a
Providence is so
payment
much better
in
than
lieu of
Worcester.
tax program. Payment in lieu of
I
taxes
hate George
that the
sometimes.
city of Providence has. A quick Google search, if you Google Providence's current deal, with the four private colleges, Brown University, Johnson & Wales, Rhode Island School of Design, and Providence College, has an agreement for over about a 20-year period now, $200 million. $200 million. $200 million that's coming to the city of Providence, that's not coming to the city of Worcester. I don't know what those numbers are. I'd ask for a report that's outlined, and I know the manager gave us that not too long ago, but I'd like to see a detailed report of what the current payment in lieu of tax program is. So, Mr. Chairman, I agree with the sentiment of this, and I'm going to vote for it. But I have a couple questions through you to the city solicitor. Madam Solicitor, if this vote goes on the ballot, let's say it's a unanimous vote, which I think it will be. I think it's going to be so much support in this community that it's going to be close to a unanimous vote, because the people of this city are so tired of the colleges not contributing the level that they should be and that they are in other communities. Let's say it
100
wins
people tops
overwhelmingly. Can the city
care.
of Worcester, after that ballot question, turn around to the colleges and impose any of these specific items?
So it took me 13 seconds to find what
Through the
George is
chair,
talking
it would have
about.
to be a negotiated,
It's from
we wouldn't be able to
2023, so
require
breaking
the
fucking
colleges
news.
to invest
The agreement that Providence has
How about a
with its
home rule
colleges
petition, Mr.
is
Chairman, from you to the
$177 million over
If we
20
ask
years.
for, home rule petition.
So it's just
and-
that's
and
the
ask
that's the
our
pilot
partners
agreement.
in the state
Right,
legislature
but it's not like
to-
someone's
to
cutting
move with us
George,
on that
cutting
and to
Providence a
ask
check for
if we would be
$200 million.
able to be
It's
enforced that way.
and Brown alone
Chair,
is
it
covering
would have to be,
128
an
million of it.
exemption
You know what we
of
don't
the
have in Worcester is a
current
fucking
law.
Ivy League school,
I
George.
can't tell you if it would be
Can
done.
you
or
drop that, like?
It would be
Yeah.
home rule petition for
Because-
special legislation.
Okay.
Like our
Because,
pilot
I
agreements,
mean,
the colleges
and
are paying
think
more than that
that's-
already.
That's the bottom
Probably.
line,
No, I would
is
assume that we're actually getting
I
more
just
money.
I'm going
Like,
to vote to support
To be
this,
fair,
and I
maybe
think the
cut
mayor and
the Brown
council-
dollars out
council-
again.
Mayor
We don't have
Carlson,
a
should be congratulated for making this effort.
an
and
Ivy
bringing
League
this
school
item to the floor again
with
and to
Ivy
the
League
public
dollars.
eye.
Like,
But the reality is that even if it's voted unanimously at the ballot box, which I hope it will be, that we can only ask. And we need to have our partners in the
but
state
effectively,
house
the regular
to
colleges
finally
in Providence
show
are
up
paying
in this
$50 million
chamber,
over 20
finally
years.
show up in
It's
this building,
nonsense
and
money.
show up in
Again,
the State House for
take the whole
us,
budget, go to
to-
Foxwoods, put it on red.
to
You know
do
what?
some changes
Hedge.
and stay
I bet if you go to
involved, because at the
Foxwoods
end
with
of
half
the
the
day,
budget and Mohegan
all we
Sun
can
with
do
the
is
other
ask.
half of the budget,
And I just want to make
red
sure
on
that
one,
my-
black on the
at least my
other, you gotta
constituency
win, right?
Knows that at the end of the day, that's what this will be.
Thank you. Council King?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I certainly think that place this on the ballot will yield results overwhelmingly in favor of it, Mr. Chairman. I think as a council, that would not be surprising to any of us. I appreciate the initiative by Mayor Petty and Councilor Carlson. I agree with some of the comments that have been made as well. I do want to talk a little bit about pilot. You know, going back some time, we had asked the city manager to do some work and to engage with the local colleges and universities. I know going back to when I was chairing municipal operations, we came out with a number of requests to the city manager asking for updates on the pilot task force that this council unanimously supported for the public. That would be a separate entity, given the fact that back in 2022, when I called for an audit of our pilot agreements, that they weren't being negotiated in a timely manner in the prior administration. And we asked for that, and that task force has not come to fruition. It is my understanding that the city manager, which I'll ask him to speak to in a minute, has been engaging with those folks. But we definitely need an update on that, Mr. Chairman. You know, there was a number of things that we were looking for, including small nonprofits as well, small nonprofits. And, you know, this particular item is also something that makes me want to think. You know, I certainly want to hear, before I move forward, from the city manager on what it is that's been going on with the task force. And again, this is two different things, as Councilor Carlson pointed out. However, I do have a concern about chilling the relationship between this body, the administration, and the schools. I certainly supported the efforts we were making in response to WPI, purchasing the hospitals that were referenced. But if the city manager could update the public and the body here on exactly what's been going on relative to pilot and what the negotiations have been.
Mr. Manager?
Through the chair to the councilor, we submitted a report to council floor a few months back about the current pilot agreements that we currently have right now in place with the private institutions. There are a number of institutions in the city. Some are private and some are public. There are state-run institutions like Worcester State, QCC, UMass Medical, et cetera. There are state institutions, and those pilots have to be very different than they would have to be with the private institutions. Currently, right now,
based on the report that we had submitted to the council months ago, most of the private institutions currently have a pilot agreement in place. And those pilot agreements, some end in 2030, another ends in 2034, another ends in 2036. And so they currently have agreements that have been in place since 2009 or 2011. Any desire to change that pilot has to be an agreement between the institution and myself to want to engage in a negotiation to open up that agreement and renegotiate that current pilot. But they're not entitled, or they don't have to do that, or they're not required to do that because they currently have an agreement in place that they can stand on. There is other institutions who've expressed interest in working with me in trying to come up with a pilot agreement that they currently not have one. There's about 2 institutions in the city, private institutions, who do not have a pilot agreement, and they have expressed interest in wanting to engage in one, and we've started that process in conversations with them. One of the institutions actually invited myself and
Bill,
some of
how
our
long
cabinet
are we
members
paying
to
for
do
the
a full
ballpark for?
presentation about pilots and the impact of
that 20
pilots
years?
to a community
30.
at their full
30
board
years.
meeting.
Like
And that
2050
was, you know,
So Providence is effectively getting from
and
the
so
colleges
I meet very
over the
periodically
same period of
with the
time
college
what we're
presidents, and
paying
we
for a
engage in many
ballpark.
different conversations, many different topics, including pilot discussions, current pilots within the framework that they have, and also potential
I can totally
future
see why
ideas of
the
things that
universities
they
would
could do
want to
and things that we
invest
would
more in Worcester.
expect from them.
It's such a
in
solid
terms of their
investment.
initial investments in development or areas that we may have some needs. If, for example, if there is a desire to do a pickleball court near an institution, oftentimes we, the administration, will reach out to the institution and say, hey, would you want to partner on something like that? That's just one prime example. But there's a number of things that we engage in on a day-to-day basis to try to have discussions broadly about their impact to the neighborhood, properties potentially coming off the tax rolls, investments that they can further make into the community. And so every institution is different in terms of what they could offer in their capacity, and every relationship is different, and I have to be able to manage that to be able to come up with an agreement that not only satisfies the city, but also satisfies the organization. And I just want to.
That's what makes it even worse.
We're very full aware of the
Big Brother.
Providence University, Providence pilot agreement.
To
We know that
agree
was
to
a big
pre-plan this
kind of announcement
for
but
like
when we did
the
the analysis
same
and we actually
couple
took,
of weeks
the
when
analysis of what
these
the colleges
student
that
international
in
students
that
are getting
pilot
their visas
agreement for Providence
revoked.
were provided,
They're just
there was,
disappearing.
on average,
Any
many of
student
them
they
were
can.
very similar
They're
to
cutting
what our
funding
current pilots
everywhere,
offer.
and you're talking
The
about
only
like
outlier in the Providence was Brown University. Brown University is an extremely wealthy institution, and so they provided close to, I believe, it was
it's going to
$5 million
become
on an annual
such a
basis
like
in pilot agreements. The others were
Wayne Griffin,
relatively
Tammy
similar
Crank
to what other communities
campaign
here
to
in,
like
in Worcester
just
offer.
like
And so
target
we
all
didn't
their
see a big
animosity
difference other
at
than just they did a great
institutions
job
of
marketing
higher
over a 20-year
education,
period of what they've done,
because
of what they were able to agree.
that's what they see on the TV.
But there is there's room there for the institutions here to offer that, and some of them have expressed interest in wanting to do more and figure out a way what that could look like for them.
Council.
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry to interrupt. I didn't answer the question about the task force. One of the strategies that I tried to take on was to try to individually meet. A lot of the presidents are new into this community, and I was fairly new into the role of city manager. And before I called a task force or called this special meeting to have all of them come to the table, I wanted to start to build relationship with each individual one of them. So having coffees, having dinners, lunches, et cetera, to build the relationships, to then bring them to the table to have discussions in the form of a task force. And so there's been a number of discussions over the last 2 years in my role as city manager to be able to do that, to be able to express the needs of this council, the needs of our community in terms of the conversations that we've had, also ideas that I may have, and express them in our one-on-ones that we've had over time. But I do acknowledge that we haven't met as a task force. We haven't created formally the task force. We've created a list of members that we think could be in the task force. And that's something that we're looking forward to eventually kick off in the next few months. But my initial reaction to the idea of creating a task force when I first was started was I wanted to take the opportunity to build relationships with a lot of these residents. A lot of them were new, I was new, and that was, I think, to have a great, healthy relationship and a process to negotiate, relationships are extremely important.
Mr. Chairman,
What the fuck? What was
a lot of
that?
us have been talking about pilot going back to Gary Rosen and beyond. I think just about everybody on this council. And
No, you
I'm
did
going to
it.
go back to the
You
audit I
invoked him.
called for in March of 2022.
You summoned
talking
him
about
like a
3 years.
spirit,
Next year,
like
we
a
called for the
spirit
task
demon.
force. Councilor Haji and others had filed orders in 2024 as well. So there's certainly a lot of interest here. Question to the chair, to the administration, as relates to the current act to support educational opportunities to all, which looks at tax endowments that are greater than $1 billion. That's a state legislation that's pending. Through the chair to the administration, can you explain how that would work if that passed with what the city's trying to do? Through the chair.
Mr. Manager?
Yeah, through the chair to the council, I think there's a difference in terms of what the legislation that's proposed right now about a potential tax and what this proposal here looks like. This proposal here is seeking an opportunity for colleges to make an investment into a fund that potentially could receive a return on investment in their dollars. So their investment will go to invest in a project, whether it's a business or a residential project, that then could potentially have a return on investment in those dollars, which is different than a legislation on just purely just taxing an entity, because then there won't be no return on that investment for that tax. It's just simply a contribution to the municipality. So there's two differences in terms of what is being proposed here, the idea of an investment rather than just a tax.
Through the chair to the administration, would this be optional?
Through the chair to the council, the legislation, if it does pass, I don't know, I believe it would be optional. I think it could probably be something that is required as part of special legislation.
I believe it would be
This
optional, but
here,
it
in
is
terms of
also
what's
something
being
that could be
proposed
required.
here, it would put me in a position to negotiate with the institutions, and they would then be an optional, whether they want to accept or not accept the idea of negotiating a potential investment opportunity to create an investment fund for the community.
Dude, what are we talking about investment opportunities?
Mr. Chairman, I certainly
Sounds
understand
so
the non-binding element to
This
this.
is the same thing as a pilot, which we already
you
have.
know, I do think that any agreement, if it's pilot agreement.
It's
if
like they're
this-
selling
if it's a
Amway.
sort of
That's what this
an
sounds
agreement
like.
With regards to endowment, that it should be.
Yeah, we're gonna get all the colleges together.
correlative
They're all
and
gonna
tiered,
share
to
a
the
Bitcoin
finances
wallet,
of those particular institutions.
and
know,
we get to pull out of it
that
whenever
some of
we
the
need it.
institutions have much
For,
greater
you know,
endowments than others, and that would certainly
machine
make
guns
sense.
for the cops, or
I also know and have concerns around
helicopters.
the endowments. We know that colleges spend their largest share of endowments on student financial aid. And the last thing we want to do is reduce the ability for folks to access college education who otherwise won't be able to afford it. We know that they support academic programs and research. 70% of endowments are used for that. And we know that right now, the Trump administration and the federal government are attacking our colleges
Wow.
and our universities.
How many
and
minutes? How many minutes
the
into
timing
this
of this
before someone brought it up?
Makes that very, very acutely a concern. But the other thing with this, when you're talking about endowments, is that you're looking at situations where not just students will be impacted, but university employees. And we know our universities employ a lot of folks here in the city, but that's who will get the brunt of this, potentially. And again, I certainly support the idea of this. You know, I'd like to see it in committee, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we send this to committee prior to moving forward. Because again, there's a growing list of higher educational institutions that federal funding is targeting. And we also have state legislation pending, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to get a report back on an act to support education opportunities for all that was filed by Representative Higgins. We know that that particular legislation, if approved, would tax endowments, and is said that it will also, those monies would be able to pay for free college tuition at any public college, at all the 29 public colleges and universities. And I certainly don't want to dip into that, Mr. Chairman. But I think the overall
There's a
sentiment
trade
here is that the
imbalance
pilot
between us
situation
and our
is not
colleges?
sufficient. It's not satisfactory to me as a counselor. The council obviously would like to move forward with these things. But right now, programs and research are under attack. We have federal legislation. I certainly just want an opportunity. And you know what? Listening to the city manager today, these are new information. Some of this stuff is new information. And at the end of the day, this is a non-binding matter. We vote this, it comes back in November, December. Still got to go to committee. We still have to write a home rule petition and legislation. So while I'm supportive of this, Mr. Chairman, I'd like a further hearing on this. And I would like the city manager to provide a report on what exactly has been going on in those discussions with those schools, because we still have a couple of folks who are not having pilot agreements. The pilot agreements that some of these institutions have are insufficient in my eyes, but definitely a deeper dive.
You know what this moment
is
of
required
college
this,
students
Mr.
getting
Chairman.
disappeared
Thank you.
calls for?
Thank you.
Let's talk about the properties that they're buying around town.
Okay, we have Council Hyjak.
Oh, man.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I certainly appreciate the spirit of this order, and don't disagree with Councilor Merrill Carlson that starting with WPI, you know, there has been a lot of discussions on the responsibilities and how much the colleges and universities are stepping up. But this is not a conversation just about WPI. And Councilor King is right. In many of us, but including myself, in November of 2024, we had a report about an ask to outline the responsibilities, the pilot agreements, how many properties they've purchased, et cetera. It sounded to me at the time, coupled with Councilor King's request to have a task force, that would be the springboard for a thoughtful conversation with our partners. And before I proceed further, though, I do want to make it very clear and express my solidarity with the students at WPI, at Clark University, and potentially others who have been targeted by the Trump administration. We can disagree with colleges and universities, as we have, those of us that have picketed Clark University for the treatment of their graduate and undergraduate students. And we can also recognize that this is a moment in time, like Councilor King said, that higher education institutions and particularly students speaking on their political rights are under attack. That said, Mr. Manager, I have a couple of questions for you through the chair. Have you spoken to the colleges and universities about this particular orders? Have they had any reactions as far as you can tell us?
Mr. Manager?
Through the chair, oh yeah. I've spoken to the presidents, I've spoken to the government relations folks. Just today I had a meeting with all the government relations folks from the institutions, talking through about the orders, talking through about some of the ideas and things and conversations that I've had with the presidents about potential ideas of further investments in our community. So absolutely.
And Mr. Manager, if you can share, what has been their reaction to this order?
Through the chair to the council, I think they were shocked by the in terms of what they've expressed, and they've expressed frustration about the order. You know, they've expressed their
shrimp
calls as
tacos.
well.
Look at
Some
these
of the
shrimp
councilors
tacos. Look at
expressed
these
their
shrimp
thoughts
tacos.
about it.
Bill, if you could do me a huge
do
favor,
have
take a
concerns
big bite
because
of one of those shrimp
their,
tacos. Don't
kind of
chew.
volatility that
Just
they're in right now in terms
open
of
the
their
link that I sent you in our
situations at
private
higher
chat while
institutions.
staring directly into the camera.
Everything that you had just mentioned.
Big bite.
Just right now, they've expressed that to me in terms of some dire times that they're in. They've had to make layoffs, they've had to make cuts, programs, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, they have expressed those concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. And going back to what Councilor King had said regarding the task force that he created, when that task force is up and running, and
Who
I
is this
really
guy?
hope that you can make
That's
that
the
happen
Swedish artist who made the
expeditiously.
eagle statue up
Would
in Greendale
items
that
like
you're
this,
always
would
fucking talking
conversations
about.
like
Yes!
this be part
I knew it.
of
I knew it. I knew it. I
an
knew it.
overall systemic approach
Nazi
to
eagle confirmed.
what universities and colleges and larger
That's
nonprofit
so sick.
institutions need to contribute to our city and residents.
To the chair, to the council, yeah, that's the plan. The plan is to discuss kind of in larger, about other best practices across the nation, also what are people doing across the state, and then what ideas that can come up with in terms of these discussions, and then understanding a little bit more about their current capacity, their current situations, but then also then realizing and understanding some of the need for people in the public to know this. Just because the task force hasn't met and hasn't moved forward does not mean the work hasn't been happening. I've been at work with this institution for a long time, for the past 2 years, on real discussions about pilots, ideas like community impact funds, et cetera, et cetera. It hasn't come to this floor because, again, it's part of negotiating and discussions with every different institution. But I just want to reiterate that because I don't want the message to be that the administration has been sitting back ineffective in this work just because the task force is not meeting. There's been a lot of work, not only from my behalf, from Peter Dunn, our chief financial officer, and things that we've put together, things that we've done, and conversations that we've had with our institutions. So I just wanted to state that because that's important for the public to know that.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I agree with the assessment and the motion that Councilor King put forward. I think on this floor, we have talked a lot about some failures on part of some colleges. We've talked about that our residents, as rightly Councilor Merrill Carlson mentioned, as Councilor King mentioned, our neighborhoods do not deserve to be impinged upon. Our residents do not deserve to be displaced. I do believe that in order to have a thoughtful conversation, in order to treat our colleges and universities and larger nonprofits as partners rather than clear and present danger factors, that we need to have a more thoughtful and more comprehensive discussion. I am in full support in the spirit of this order. I do think that giving you the opportunity to share a little bit more broadly what your efforts have been, what your efforts will be, as well as have this conversation with the colleges and universities as partners at the table is why I think it's a wise move to move this discussion into committee. Lastly, I do want to say, from my experience working as a youth worker years ago, there was an op-ed on the Worcester Business Journal by Rosanna Garcia, Chair of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at WPI. She talked a lot about the fact that one of the things that it's lacking on the part of some of the colleges and universities is a bit more of a robust investment in our students, in our inner city students. I used to run a program called Youth Academy years ago. And I believe at the time you were at UInc, and we both mentored a lot of youth. There was an MOU between the colleges and universities for our youth that if they met a certain academic standard, that they would have a full ride to the colleges and universities. I have seen that MOU dissipate over time. The reason I bring that is that as one particular example of the larger conversation that we can have, we can negotiate, and we can invite colleges and universities to renew. Certainly, this can be part of the discussion, and I would love to see an impact fund as well. But in other times, we've had the mayor's task force on policy that brought diverse stakeholders to the table. They came up with recommendations, some of which have been picked up by city councilors on this body. So I guess my lasting comment on this will be that I do believe this warrants more public conversation in committee. I think this warrants more understanding of what tools you need to negotiate. And I do want to reiterate that I do have faith in you conducting these negotiations. And as the District 5 City Councilor, I have mentioned to you, I've mentioned to Clark University, that I have a wish list that I'd like to see in terms of what they can do for the district, especially with the purchase of the Diamond Chevrolet property.
Thank you. We got Council Pasillo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I see these proposals as a way to push for something this city needs, and it's honest, transparent, consistent dialogue between municipal government and the colleges. And Councilor Russell makes a great point. Regardless of what happens in November, this is non-binding, and we can only ask the colleges to participate. But I know we all want what's best for Worcester, and this is an opportunity for the colleges and the city to continue working together and helping our community. So I'm a Worcester State graduate and a Clark graduate, and I know that the colleges are invested in Worcester. I saw this firsthand during my time at Clark especially, and I always appreciate their investment in the Worcester Public Schools and the Main South neighborhood. And I know that doesn't necessarily show up on pilot programs, but Worcester's universities and colleges contribute significantly through education, economic investment, community engagement. They create jobs and attract students and visitors who support our small businesses and restaurants. WPI, Clark, and UMass have cutting-edge research, technical expertise, and they really are such a wonderful partner to have in the city. This isn't about blame or conflict. I, like most of my colleagues, do hear from residents a lot who are concerned with properties that the colleges are purchasing and taking off the tax roll, or, endowments or salaries, and they have to pay their taxes at the end of the day, and the colleges don't. So residents do talk to me about this, and I'm sure all of us, but I don't want this to be about blame or conflict, and I don't want to damage the relationship between the city and the colleges. And it sounds like city manager and Mr. Dunn, everyone is working to kind of bring people to the table. And I also know that colleges are hurting. There's hiring freezes, graduate students, their offers are being rescinded. Federal aid programs like Pell Grants are possibly going to be cut. And we're all feeling the effects of federal funding cuts and the overall uncertainties of the future. And that includes our colleges, that includes our neighborhoods and our families and small businesses, and we are all doing our best to stay afloat. And that's why we need each other. We need real ongoing collaboration. I am happy to support this. It's obviously, we're talking about it, and I think that's a great first step. I'm happy to talk about it more in committee. I know I like to take a deep dive. Either way, I just want to make sure that the city and the colleges can work together. This should be about cooperation and a commitment to doing better together. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Councilor Toomey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For at least 2 decades or more, this subject has been discussed ad infinitum. And we've talked about it, we've moved forward, we've taken steps backwards, but we're still talking about it. And it needs to come to some conclusion where we can find some common ground with these institutions of higher learning that are in our community.
Book report? Oh, you didn't read the book?
That will benefit them.
That's
I
what she
give
sounds like.
Councilor Merrill Carlson and the mayor great credit for coming up with this potential solution. I, for several years now, have been asking that we review the Dover Amendment to exclude any residential rental properties. But clearly, that needs the will of the delegation, and not just the Worcester delegation, it also all the legislators. So I'm hoping that this moves forward, because I think it has the greatest chance of success, and it's very much needed. The town-gown relationship issue is not unique to Worcester.
She loves to say that.
All across
She
the
says
country.
that every single time.
Colleges and residents and businesses and cities and towns all over the country have had issues like this. Right now, I think we are at a very at a pivotal point in time in our financial concern for our residents, for the budget cuts and all of those things are going to be impacting. And one of the things that I've always said is that if I were a member of the Board of Trustees of one of these colleges, I would want...
Currently, Kate is on Zima.
If we were going to participate in something, I'd want it to be part of our mission.
She's on what?
Zima.
And how do we merge and meld
Not
the
Ozempic.
mission of the institutions of higher learning with the needs of our community? And I think that those discussions can certainly have bear great fruit with this move going forward. So I rise to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Ojeda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I'm in agreement with a lot that's going on that we mentioned. But for one, I want to thank the city manager for, sharing the fact that he's having those conversations. It's important to be transparent, especially with this that's going on. But also to make sure that, he's doing his job, right? And like Councilor Haji said, she believes in him and I trust him as well. To do his job, I know he meets with them regularly. But for me, and I believe what we've mentioned several times is relationships. And this is really big here for relationships. It's about building relationships, but also keeping these relationships. I would like to know outside
Zima's been back for a while, Benny.
Pilots.
Just in a less
what,
dangerous bottle.
Financial impact do these universities actually have in our cities, right? We mentioned
tariffs are going to
they're
bear
involved
great
in our
fruits.
schools and neighborhoods.
Stick it
What
out.
else? What other type of financial impact do they have, or they provide for us? And I believe
Bear great
that's something that
fruits.
we can do a deeper dive in understanding that. We have a bunch of universities and colleges that are here. Some of them students they stay and they become our residents and they raise families here, so they're paying taxes and all that stuff. So not just a pilot, but they're here. I think I have a question to the city solicitor, and maybe she mentioned it and maybe I missed it or answered it. It's legally, are we able to do this to the universities? To the chair, to the citizen.
Madam Solicitor?
Through the chair to the counselor, we would not be able to require it. It would have to be a negotiation.
Okay, all right. You did mention that earlier. Thank you. So if we're working in, we
A
as
ballot
the
question
city manager's working
to
already with,
ask them.
trying to figure out these pilots, and it's been mentioned before, many times before, how are we going to address these pilots, and he's working on that.
A ballot question to
I just don't
have
want
the
to
city
take away from those
manager
conversations and
ask
those
the
relationships
questions
that are
he's
being
already
built,
asking.
Already
that
asking.
are going on, or potentially that could be, coming on down, years down the road. So I just don't want to, jeopardize that as well. So I'm really all for bringing people to the table. I understand, there was a point in time where no one showed up. Council mentioned
Did Mad Dog
earlier.
ever go away?
But I think there's a time where they need to show up.
Jeez, I didn't realize
It'd
that.
be good if we can bring it to committee so we can have these conversations. And I'm hoping we can bring it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Council Russell? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to be brief, and I just, there's been a lot of conversation here tonight, and most, if not all of it, I agree with, and it's a step in the right direction. But, to say that Brown University is so much bigger, and it is, their endowment is like $7 billion, according to Google. But Holy Cross will be okay. They got $1.5 billion.
I have
UMass will
an
be
emergency
okay. They got
OG4
1.5
Loco in my refrigerator.
So it's not, these institutions will be okay. And yes,
What are you saving that for?
They do.
When the
provide a lot
zombies
of
come.
jobs. They do provide.
You're
a
just
lot
like the
of jobs.
fucking video games. Fucking
But
slamming
at
that
the end
back
of
and
the
off
day,
we go.
So do the businesses in downtown Worcester, in District 3, and in every district in this city. The businesses, including small businesses, and they pay taxes every day. They pay taxes. They pay fees. The universities pay fees along the lines of water usage fees and the like, but they don't pay taxes, and that's their right under state law. But this, I'm going to support this as it's written, but I would make a motion, Mr. Chairman. And I said this many times when I first saw this, the first thing that came to mind was, if we can only ask, let's ask now. If we can only ask, let's ask now. I'm all for putting it on the ballot and making it part of a public discussion at November at election time. And I think that'll be a good thing. It'll be, it'll enhance so folks in the universities will know This is not
How do you
only
even
the city
pronounce that?
council
Saint
members,
Sixtus?
but it's also the community talking. And I think that'll be a good thing. But, Mr. Chairman, on item 12A,
Sixtuses?
right in the middle of it, it says,
Brennan, you see that?
ballot question, and
Did
it's
you have a
colon,
bottle
it
of
says, do
Saint
you?
Sixtuses?
I would,
No.
at that point, I would stop, and I would ask for a resolution that says, the Worcester City Council supports requiring our private colleges
It's not
and
requiring, George.
universities
It's
to
a
invest
voluntary contribution.
0.05% of their endowments annually into a community impact fund to be administered locally to help finance needed housing, economic, and community development projects. I'll ask for a vote on that right now, and I hope it's a unanimous vote.
not required.
So we can send a message to the universities before. Maybe, hopefully, this doesn't even have to go to a ballot question. Maybe the universities will say, gee, the city council is representing the public, and we're getting that message. Let's
If we
send
do
it
that,
as
can we have a ballot question
resolution.
on
Let's
strong
take the
mayor
words
instead?
right out of this item. And let's vote the item as it is also. But let's also take it as a resolution. And that's my motion, Mr. Chairman, that we go on record tonight as a city council, as I spoke.
So what's the amendment?
Let me do it
What
again.
has them whipped up
If
all
you
in a
look at
frenzy
number
about
12A, it's not
What?
an amendment, Mr. Chairman, it's a separate resolution.
Did Candy like give
I
him
have a
pep
And
talk
resolution.
a
or
resolution saying the
business
Worcester
before, like,
City
meeting
Council
tonight?
supports instead of
Everyone's
do
like,
you
yeah, we're gonna kill
support.
him.
It would say the Worcester City Council supports, and then you read the rest of it the way I just did. The Worcester City Council supports. I'm asking for that, for my colleagues to vote tonight on a resolution that says that we support it right now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Jenny's getting hives again.
Okay. Councilor King? Your time is almost up. Councilor Jenny, Councilor Facillo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I just ask a procedural question? If this goes to committee, it can still go on the ballot. May I, through the chair to Mr. Clerk?
Through the chair to the council. So basically, if you send it to committee, the committee's got to report it out and then bring it back to this body. The body has to take a vote. And once you take the vote, if you have 6 votes, then it goes to the Board of Election Commissioners
Mo has
for
not
them to
spoken,
place on the
as far as I
ballot.
know.
But, so hypothetically, it could go to MLO or whatever committee you guys
Municipal
want.
Operations, because that's the committee.
Okay, and then it could be heard and come back to the council. And
Correct.
still, but it could still end up on the ballot in November, because it's only April.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor King? Councilor Bergman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm thinking through what Councilor Russell has added, and my initial response or reflection is that we've all weighed in before as councilors. So weighing in again is not doing anything different. It doesn't mean that we can't all say, and most likely would say, that we support what's being proposed by yourself and Councilman Carlson. But I think the purpose of what you, and I'm not speaking for either one of you, but I think the purpose of what you're trying to do is try to do something different, something that can move this along, get us closer to where we've always tried to be, which is a city that gets sufficient resources beyond what we've gotten through some voluntary pilot payments. So
We have
and I also have a
What is he talking
a
about?
concern, maybe others don't, that the item we're asked to vote on.
Bill, how much of this
resolution
is
on
just
really,
Candy and
to me,
others
should get a little
creating
bit
a wedge
more of
issue that they know will drive votes
placement
away
on the
from,
agenda than
or
just
at least
a
put
lot
more
of
progressive
discussion,
voices
because I
on the
think, to me
defense
at
come
least,
election
it
time?
comes close to the open meeting law issue.
I don't know. Do you think so?
I'll hold.
I was just thinking about it now, because like they're getting angry at the idea of like, hey, we could just vote on it now.
Yeah,
But, like,
right.
No, it's got to be on the ballot. Like it's going to be the will of the people. Like, well, really?
Okay.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm sure the townies agree that
Councilor King?
colleges shouldn't exist. Whatever.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sure the majority of Worcester townies are
really
right there with
quickly,
Curtis Yarvin.
I
Colleges
wanna
serve no
again,
purpose at all.
Give
Yeah, that
kudos
could
to
be-
Councilor Carlson for the institutional zoning initiative.
That could be actually what's going on. That's
That's, I
crazy.
think, in committee. And I want to reiterate, I think there's been a lack of communication to this body with respect to what's going on with the colleges. And I want to see that improved. I want to say that for the record. In addition to that, I want to say that it's clear there's a lot of thoughts here. I mean, Councilor Russell's motion, I'd like to see in committee, quite frankly. I'd like for them to have a discussion about it. And I'd like this particular item to go along with it. In addition to that, you know, in Councilor Russell's neighborhood, in my neighborhood, over by Holy Cross, there's a lot of properties being bought up. We know that our housing stock is not what we want it to be. We know the impact it has on multi-generational families here in the city and their lack of access to housing. And I want to reiterate, and I've said this a few times on this floor, and that is, you know, we need student housing as well. It's an important part of the town-gown relationship. But I encourage,
I feel strongly that the
again,
local
to any
argument that the
presidents that are watching the
colleges
government
are
relations
putting a
folks,
drain on
build
local
up,
housing
not out.
is the
Build up
local equivalent of
on
the federal
your
administration
property,
argument
not
that
out into our community,
deportation
reducing
will
our housing
alleviate
stock.
strain on
And what I'm
the
hearing here,
national
Mr.
housing
Chairman,
stock. Like
is frustration.
the amount of
Sounds
three
like
deckers that
the
Clark
schools are now
may or may
frustrated,
not
and I guess the
own and
term
rent
was
to
used,
students
shocked with this particular
so completely
initiative.
not relevant in the
They've been in communication,
scope of what is
apparently,
needed for
and what I'm
housing in the
surmising
city of
from that
Worcester.
is that they feel as though, you know, there was a relationship that was being built and there was negotiations going on, and this came in.
Wrap up too.
Yep, I'm wrapping right now. I again support this, but again, I'd like
I just put a
both items
link
to go to
to
committee.
the most recent
Perhaps,
report from the city on
Councilor Bergman would
pilot
support
payment.
the second item that he
And the
held
city
going
gets
to
$1
committee
million,
as well, and perhaps
2
withdraw
or
that vote.
3
But my
a
motion
year
would be that
from our
both of
college.
those go to committee.
Like,
Well,
they
I
pay
have my
pilot.
first motion, but the other thing is that if that would go to committee as well, I think
So
that
I don't
would move
know.
the process along.
Okay.
Brennan, I do kind of
Council?
think this is Katie Merrill Carlson whipping up,
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
throwing the
There was
base some
a
meat. You know?
statement made.
Why else
about
should we
all
have
of these different
why would the council be
colleges
pushing a ballot
could
initiative?
not be treated the same.
Again,
This came out of
Again,
nowhere.
The item
One that would
says
be actually popular in the city for like maybe good
0.5%
reason. Yeah,
of
do
their endowment.
strong mayor.
So that means that each one of these colleges certainly would be at a different
We didn't do a
level.
baseball park ballot
And again,
initiative.
Mr. Chairman,
Imagine if this
I
forces Holy
stand
Cross
here
to
and
move.
say that there is a sense of urgency here, and I have no doubt that the city manager has not been working on this. But, Mr. Chairman, there's also another task force that was set up probably 12 years ago. And from 12 years ago, as we continue to talk about task force and we continue to talk about meeting with colleges
WPI
and
gives
universities,
$800,000 a year.
From 12 years ago, this
MCH,
council has
MCPH, SU,
no data, nothing
$250,000
different.
a year. Clark gives $350,000
We also
a year.
know as a council standing
College of Holy
here
Cross,
tonight
80 grand.
that our pilots, as they've expired, and I said earlier tonight, there's 30 pieces of property that have been taken off the tax rolls since 2020. 30 pieces of property. And I might add, Mr. Chairman, that a lot of these took place in 23 and 24. So again, these items, and the reason that I put these forward is because I believe that there is a sense of urgency. There's a sense of urgency for us as a city, as residents of this city, and I think that, you know, the message needs to be to all the colleges, not just WPI, to all the colleges that are lined, you know, that are outlined in the press release and outlined in the op-ed. Again, there needs to be a sense of urgency here. And quite frankly, when I look at and what is happening with some of these colleges and universities and over the past year, and if you can look at what some of them are paying, I got to tell you, there's
Now you
nothing
have a sense of
there,
urgency.
I
I find this very hard to believe. You know, Brendan, you're right.
We
This
believe that
is
they
the
believe that
wedge
there's
issue.
a sense of urgency here. Again, Mr.
It's just
Chairman, when we
astroturf,
talk
the whole
about
thing.
taking $1.8 million out of our tax
I wouldn't even get them
base,
more money.
that's a sense of urgency to
voluntary.
me. And as I
Right.
stood here earlier tonight and said,
I don't believe that this should go to committee. Because again, let it go to the ballot. Let the people make their choice as far as what they believe in.
Can you wrap
And
up?
it does not in any way prevent the city manager from continuing to have the conversations, as I believe he should continue to have the conversations. But the mere fact, Mr. Chairman, that these colleges, 300 different board members, and there's 6 of them from the city of Worcester, and we think that that's okay, that they have the city of Worcester's back.
Thank you.
Personally, I think that,
the hell does that have to do with
6 individuals sitting in
Also, who took the time to
for
look
300
at the home
is nothing
residences
to
of the
certainly
board
brag
members of
about.
every college? Like, what the
Thank you.
fuck? That's so weird.
Okay. Is that so, Council?
I mean, if they were really interested in a long-term strategy to raise revenue in the city, like get rid of single-family zoning and allow people to build for the city's actual needs.
Motion takes precedent. Motion is to send to committees over the item.
Who held this
So
underprivileged?
first motion is to send it to committee. Then if that succeeds, it goes to committee.
Wait.
If it fails, we'll take a vote on the item. Okay, so motion to committee.
To MO?
Demo, yep. Roll call.
Council Bregman?
No.
Council Calorio?
No.
Council Agia?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Member Carlson? Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
No.
Council Toomey?
No.
And Mayor Petty.
No.
So, Mr. Mayor, that fails, 64.
Then we'll take a vote on the item. Roll call.
12A to adopt the item to send to the Board of Election Commissions for the November ballot. Council Bregman?
Yes.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council Agia?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Member Carlson? Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Toomey?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Yes. And the next 3 items, we can take them collectively and send them to the city manager. Is that okay? All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Counselor, for
What
the items that
the
are filed by the
hell?
councilors, we'll send that to committee. I'm going to send that to the manager. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered.
Yeah, Candy held it last week, so it could be there for Petty, but that's why
We
there's
have 12E.
huge sense of urgency.
It's held under privilege. Relative to the creation of the
The
ordinary
four
street
were,
name designation program.
Natal King,
Motions to ordain on a roll call.
Louis Ojeda, and
Roll
Jenny
call.
Pasillo.
Bregman?
Wanted to send it to committee.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council Agia?
No.
Council King?
Which one is this?
12E.
No.
Council Member Carlson? Council Nguyen? Council Ojeda?
Yeah, and I don't want to make it
Council Pasillo?
conspiratorial,
Yes.
Bill. I'm just trying to think of how
Russell?
that plays
Council
on,
Toomey?
especially on the
Mayor
district
Petty.
races.
Yes.
Like, that becomes the conversation for,
We did 12.
5. It becomes a conversation in 2.
Consideration, Mr. Chairman, on 12E.
Yeah.
Motion to reconsider on 12E.
The areas that have
Council Bregman?
heavy,
Council
single-family
Calorio? Council Agia?
tax
Council
bases,
King?
No.
Council
Are
Member
the-
Carlson?
the districts that
Council
are
Nguyen?
always
Council
looking
Ojeda?
at clawbacks from the
Council Pasillo?
colleges.
No.
Council Russell?
Right.
Council Toomey?
No.
And Mayor Petty.
Yeah, like I'm not,
Motions
I
to
mean,
adjourn. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered.
amazing. Amazing. We are doing our own Worcester's Liberation Day. We're gonna free the municipal budget. They're gonna come to us. They've been ripping us off. They've been ripping us off for too long. There is a trade imbalance between the colleges and the city of Worcester, and we are going to take it back. Any college who doesn't like it, we are gonna ask you nicely once again, because the city lawyer and city manager explained that this would be voluntary payments, which the freaking they're already making voluntary payments. So we've just all wasted good amount of time there. Like,
Another night gone.
yes. Can we review the subcommittee? Yeah, we should try to do that. But I was trying to open up the subcommittee video link and it kept playing the live feed. So let's see if it's ready now. Yeah, Candy Manuel Carlson is just it's a weird hill to pick. It's weird timing. and everyone voted unanimously on it, which is like kind of rubs against my read of like a couple things. Oh, it's still live. I don't know if anybody can find a link that works for the standing committee.
Did they not split the video, Bill? Is that why they?
It's still going to live on when I pull it up.
Can you go back though on the timeline, like on the video? They might have
can.
just kept the cameras rolling straight from committee into council and split it later.
Right. Yeah. I'll try going to. Oh wait, the city has a YouTube page now.
Nice.
Oh, I'll check that out. Oh, they don't put meetings on it though.
Just Eric's coffee dates.
It's just Eric's coffee dates. Yeah. Nope, nothing. Yeah, if someone can find it, I'll put it on. I guess I'll check the Facebook. Nope, nothing on the Facebook. See if Charles Lester yelled at me. Oh my God, look at all this. Nope, he has not gotten back to me yet. Shit.
Bill, I only read about that video. What was the context?
Charles Lester posted a 5-year-old video of some drug users doing drugs behind the village, being like, this is a failure of the city administration. They need to do something. He didn't say what, of course. Nor did he disclose that it was a 5-year-old video. Like, the village had to put out a statement on that. Oh, did David live stream it? That's he probably did. But yeah, so the village and Charles Lester's people, which includes Joanna Hampton Dance, have been going to war on Facebook all day
over that video.
Over the use of that video. Yep. Because it's just a video that like they happened upon. Like, it's not something that he recorded. It's been out in the ether for like, I don't know how he got his hands on it, but he did. So yeah,
it's just shitty. I really do not. I will be the first one to admit the first time I probably came across a video on the internet of somebody fucking high as a kite and doing weird ass shit in public, I'm sure I paused and laughed. Once they became a thing that was just using to fucking shame people and whatnot, like, you got to be fucking kidding me. The idea of someone actually doing that for political gain, especially something without even having the context, right? Like, you clearly didn't realize it's a 5-year-old video. Like,
yeah,
it's just fucking gross.
Yeah. Let's see. It's on.
David's stream was impounded as evidence after he was thrown out of the meeting.
Yeah, so he wrote in the Facebook thing, we have a drug problem in our city. City leaders are out of touch with what our children have to deal with growing up in District 4. If you can't fight for yourself, how can you fight for your community? We need leaders that are not afraid of citizens and don't try to retaliate on citizens. Teamwork makes the dream work. Like, it's just garbage. It's nonsense.
Wait, this is Charles that did this?
Charles Lester, yeah.
He lives a block away from me in 5. What the fuck is he talking about?
No way. He lives in 5?
Yeah, he's 2 streets over than me. He's even closer to fucking Paxton than I am.
Yeah. I guess I can share my Facebook again. Put this up. But I'm not going to play the video because fuck that. But this is what he wrote. We have a drug problem in our city. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
City leaders are out of touch with what our children have to deal with growing up in District 4. He's running at large, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And then he says we need to help our citizens get the help they need. But okay, so like I Johanna posted about it, like, oh, people are big mad he did that, and I was like, well, what are they not? What's the city government not doing that you want them to do here, right? Like, how does posting videos like this get them the help they need? And obviously, this thing has gone crazy. There's like a bunch of comments. Everyone's angry. Right, Matt. No, how exactly is filming this and blasting it all over social media helping anyone? John Keogh in with the big comment. Yeah, so it's been the thing. It's been the thing today. But yeah, I guess we are not going to be able to do a recap of the subcommittee meeting unless somebody else figures out how to get the video.
Ben White, you mean safe injection sites like the ones being championed by at-large candidate Gary Rosen?
The ones being championed by Gary Rosen. That's right. That's right. Oh yeah, I saw David. He's just posting some like regular guy from the HR office on Facebook being like, he didn't respond to my questions when I asked them. Dude, you're taking it way too far, dog.
Really?
David, yeah, he did that. Yeah. Fucking obnoxious. All right, I'm checking on Firefox instead of Chrome. Oh, we got it. But I can't stream it with audio because you have to have you have to be on the same browser.
Can you?
So let me, I stopped sharing my screen. I'm closing everything else out.
Bill, you should be able to share it as a window instead of a Chrome tab. Just make sure that with whatever the window in Firefox you have opened, you have nothing else opened up in the tabs.
Okay.
Or at least embarrassing stuff.
Well, I don't look at anything embarrassing. I cannot actually physically be embarrassed. No, but if you do window, no, you have to do a tab on Chrome for the audio to play is the thing. So let me take this link.
Oh, you're right. Shit. I got you. My bad.
Post it back into Chrome. Okay. Yeah, we're in. We're in. All right. Yeah, we'll skim through this. I have some timestamps in my notebook. Show on stream. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. The powers of technology. The powers of technology. The more you know. Let's see here.
Around 10:30 p.m. my mark.
This is weird. It has like a mono audio feed in my left headphone. Cable access. This is what we get. $500,000. They get $500,000 a year to do this shit. Oh my god.
Department cooperative.
And so,
Oh my god.
Chair of the Public Safety Committee for the City of
So,
Worcester City Council.
You'll notice the way that this
I'm
opens up.
joined,
K2Me gives it all away.
By my colleagues, Vice Chair Mo Bergman to my right, and Councilor Louis Ojeda to my left. And clerking is, sorry, clerking is AJ Pottle, and our city solicitor, Alexander Prokunis, is here, and we're joined at the table by Chief Paul Saucier. Chief, could you introduce your staff that are here today?
Sure. We have Deputy Chief Kyle Supina, Deputy Chief Ken Davenport, Deputy Chief Ed McGinn, Deputy Chief
Sean
Fleming.
There's
and
more
Lieutenant
interesting.
Sean Murtha.
stuff
Excellent.
than
Thank you,
when
everybody.
David's on board. I guess we
also
can
have some
we
folks
can
in the
skip to that
audience,
if that's
so,
what people.
Thank you very much.
That's what the people.
We've all seen the report.
This
and,
is interesting right here, though.
I think this is a great opportunity for the chief to talk about some of the things that he has found of interest and issue with. And so we'll start with you, Chief.
Through the chair, again, this is a lengthy report. It's on the agenda.
Right.
I'm sure everyone.
So we can skip most of what the chief talks about, but that was very interesting. I thought that K2Me goes, floor is yours, chief, to tell you all of the issues with this. Like, they're not even taking it seriously at all. I have to play the moment when the chief puts forward this conspiracy theory about college students working on the report.
Plan supplemental training.
Let's
And
see.
again, I went through the class today, and Rod Reed, when I was speaking about Kenview, because she edited the report. So.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Again, we got left out facts known to the police officer, known or reasonably believed by the officer at the time the force was used. The totality of circumstances means all facts known to the police officer at the time of the incident, not in hindsight. That is important because when you read through these, the DOJ left out any of those precursors as to what constituted our reasonableness. They just put in there that we use force and pepper spray somebody. But there has to be a reason, right, leading up to that. And another factor is the people who, I got a call from a Harvard student who said she edited the DOJ report and wanted to do an interview. The people looking at the videos were actually interns. So interns were doing it. I don't know how extensive, because I never could get an answer, but the interns were looking at the video, and they also, this one from Harvard called me or emailed Lieutenant Murtha and said she wanted an interview because she edited the report. So again, this comes down to the reasonableness of another police officer in the same situation.
Just one second, could you repeat that there were student interns that were editing this and that were involved in this?
She's just so
preparing of this report?
When we give out, I'm sorry, to the chair. When we give out information on body cams, there's our software called evidence.com. We have to give people permission to use it. And the permission of the person that was using it was an intern. Back after this report was released, Lieutenant Murtha come up to me and said, hey, we got a request for an interview. It was a student from Harvard who said she interned for the DOJ and wanted to do a follow-up because she edited the report. So
this report that was so important, so scathing, and actually put a black mark on our department, was not done just by professional attorneys and people in law enforcement, the DOJ. It included students and interns.
to the chair, that's correct. That's the information we have. I don't know the extent of what they did. I believe we tried to get answers to that and we couldn't.
When was the last time you had communication, Chief, with the DOJ?
To the chair, just prior to U.S. Attorney Levy retiring.
So that was a few months ago.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank
So-
you. I didn't mean to
no
interrupt, but I
problem.
just had to take a step back because I was appalled.
And to the chair, what I'm doing is just give you a couple incidents, and then you can tell why the police came out the way they did. Because none of this, in my opinion, if you're going to make an allegation, put the whole allegation out there. Don't give 2 lines to the newspaper or in the report that people cannot read through. They cannot grasp what happened in these situations without looking at the whole incident report. So if we go to, here's an example. DOJ describes an incident report that involved the
All right.
I'm almost done.
Let's get over
saying
to,
that not one, and not put in the report, which I thought was also not professional on their part, and really did a disservice to the department. And again, the terrible.
Okay, two questions. Why does Kate have so many phones?
Especially with the
And
sexual
why is
assault
one of
issue,
Kate's phones plugged into a
impacting
charger that
the
is not
entire
plugged into an outlet?
And I appreciate you saying.
Does Kate know how
that
electricity
not one
works?
officer here would be willing to allow that to happen. So I think that's very important, that people know that. You hold your officers to a high standard, the highest of all, in yourself as well. And
All
I
the
think
sex
that the public
abuse
should
accusations,
feel comfortable with that, because
wholesale denied by
you
everyone
know that
involved
you're
in it.
being looked at, and you want to
course.
make sure that you're providing the best police department that possibly could be. But harm was done to the members of our department and their families by some of this.
Right, it was the
What also
members of the department who had harm done.
was amazing to me,
Yeah,
the
that's right, Kate.
discrepancies on information, and to actually have people say that they did a survey, students do a survey, and then say, well, we really can't make this public because we don't think it could stand muster, right? And that's
That's
what they
not
were
why you
basing
don't
some
make
of
it
this on.
public.
Now, that's not to say that there weren't legitimate concerns or complaints by people, and I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that when you're doing a report like this, you need facts. You need to work with all the facts and present them as such.
Has
And they
Kate done a
certainly
DOJ
weren't,
report?
Presented that way.
Oh, many.
In my mind.
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly important that the public understands that.
All right, so that's what it's
Most of them
like. Let's just
come
get to the
through.
meltdown now.
Can we go to 19? You said it before, so I didn't have to ask for it a second time.
I already watched this, and this is grating, so I'm going to skip
Additional respect.
until it's.
It's
Please keep that. You did not first me if you feel differently. It sounds like some of the things you're still working on.
We're not going to have a back and forth.
Okay, sure. Then please don't
Thank you.
correct me if you feel differently. I'm counting 8 of 19. I guess first and foremost, we should address the elephant in the room, which is the expectation of having more data when it was the police's responsibility to keep that data, and you did not keep that. You did not, by practice or design or intention, keep that data. In the first place is problematic. So like you guys saying, we wish, when I'm talking with people again.
I have never trusted the DOJ.
Oh, yeah.
In Worcester.
Hold on.
So these allegations about the DOJ, I just want people to remember something. I've always said that the DOJ has more holes in it than Swiss cheese. I have never trusted the DOJ under the Biden administration. And I certainly don't believe anything that any of them
These
who
two
might still be
deserve each
around will try to say. And just
All right.
25 years. So this is wonderful.
John Keogh
and it's a
makes some
great
good
start.
points.
I think I've
But
been
sorry, John, we're going to skip you.
use some way to put down.
We're not here for good points. We're here for the guys who are camping out like it's iPhone release
The
test.
city managers, 9 months, nobody wants to say anything.
Tom Marino is more
Talked a lot
fired up
about
than I've ever
the
seen.
federal government. None of this is true. It's all a lie. It's all a big deep state Biden conspiracy.
And this is when the shit starts to go south.
Nonsense. We've all heard these stories before. For years upon years. Some of them came into this chamber to tell you, beg you, to intervene. And you scoffed and rolled your eyes. Time after time after time. Now we're so patriotic in this chamber that the DOJ has launched a conspiracy. It's unbelievable, the lack of accountability. Stunning. And it's not hard to see how we got here when this committee, in a decade, hasn't had one item about discipline before it. Not one.
That's not this committee's role.
You don't look at policy, and you can't issue a chairperson's order to ask the city manager you can't request things
It's
to
not
happen, like you
this-
do with every other department but the police department.
It is not this committee's role to micromanage the running of the police department.
No, okay. Looking at a report or looking at internal investigation procedure is not, or policy is micromanaging. It happens with every other department, but not the police department, because that's in some people's electoral interests.
Thank you for your opinion.
29 months.
She
No
loses her
red flags
temper
went
real
off.
quick.
We know that the pre-investigation began at least 11 months earlier. You'd think when you learn that, well, they looked at this for 11 months and then they lost an investigation. That's bad. Maybe we should do something. But no, what did City Council do? Sat on its hands and waited for the investigation. Well, now it's here. They wouldn't have investigated there wouldn't have been an investigation if they weren't going to find anything, because that's kind of how DOJ works. And we've still now, for another 5 months, have done nothing. Nothing. We're going to wait for a report from the Research Bureau on the thing that you will oppose, that I believe probably 2 members of this committee will oppose, and then we won't do that. And so what you've done is you've changed the leadership out, put a new leader, a good man, who I have publicly supported, into a structure that's already failed. Because you don't want to do anything.
Observation, I think.
That's your opinion. Thank you.
What have you done? I'll take all your accomplishments to help reform the police department.
Thank you.
Okay, so done. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
I think you've had a chance
Consider
to
matters
speak.
pertaining to criminal and civil law enforcement, public
Yeah,
safety,
here's
community
Excuse me?
education services.
You haven't been recognized.
You're excused. You haven't been recognized either.
Jesus Christ.
You won't do anything because you don't care, because it won't happen to you.
I mean, you have been recognized.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Councillor Bergman?
Yeah, it's disappointing. This is, instead of asking probing questions, this is turned into
It's
political
exactly.
statements.
Okay, hold on.
I'm sorry, Bergman, are police not political?
Pause there. Instead of asking probing questions, this has turned into political statements. Tom Marino just asked if they've ever put an item about discipline or police reform on the agenda of this subcommittee. That's a pretty probing question. But let's see if Mo Bergman has any probing questions of his own. He does, but it's not about the police department.
Excuse me, we will not have back and forth by anybody in this meeting.
Madam Chair, one of the most disappointing things is some of the members of the public who demand transparency never mention they have an ongoing lawsuit against the City of Worcester Police Department as a form of bias in their presentation. So if I may continue, Madam Chair.
Yes, you may.
without interruption.
Yes, you may. Please, can we? Nico?
I'm sorry, with all due respect, I think you actually have to be one to the gavel. I know the clerk makes the rules as he goes, but for the record,
I have not recognized you yet.
well, Mr. Bergman did. He recognizes that in the lawsuit against the city.
No, I haven't recognized you either.
Excuse me,
not the
I'm running
chair.
this meeting, and I have not recognized you. Councillor Bergman was speaking, and you interrupted. Please continue, Councillor.
Well, I don't know if we need somebody to gavel this person down, but I'll speak, and we'll see what happens. There's an opportunity to have a question and answer period here. I see several members of the public who have used their time to criticize the police department. We don't, which is their right, but as you correctly noted, Madam Chair, our role is not discipline. Our role is not to make judgments as far as whether that report is true or not true. Our report is to, our job, excuse me, is to
You're not recognized. You do that again, and you'll have to leave. I'm going to ask you to leave the room, please, since you won't respect the committee.
This is like total substitute teacher vibes.
I'm asking as the chair to not do it again.
Please consider your responsibilities to your job as the chair.
Could we please remove the gentleman who consistently violated the request?
Did you see that?
Madam
Like
Chair,
when,
if I
like when
can
the chief
intervene for
turns
one-
around. He winks at somebody.
Violated
Like, this is hilarious.
the request.
Madam Chair, if I can intervene for 1 second, we'll
Yes.
turn the microphone off and you can continue, just to
Okay.
allow the resident.
All right,
Yep.
thank you. Yeah, he's not complying with the request of the chair.
He's not complying.
All right, do you want to continue?
maybe we should just continue the meeting, because this is,
You want to do that? Yeah. You know what, I think we're just going to continue this meeting at another date, since this is an issue.
Anyways, we only have 5 minutes. We
Yeah,
only have 5
we only have 5 minutes left, and there are other people here who wanted to be able to speak. So, yes. I think we're going to actually close the meeting, and we'll have a continuance in the next subcommittee meeting. All right, thank you very much. All right, so
Roll call?
a roll call, please, to,
Councilor, roll call to hold all items and adjourn.
Yeah.
Councilors Bergman,
Yes.
Ojeda,
Or Louis.
yes, and Chairperson Councilor Toomey.
yes, thank you.
You know, that's a smart move because he's definitely not going to show up at the next one.
So stupid. How long has it been since they had a public safety meeting before tonight?
Decent amount of time. Not too long though. There was one a couple of months ago.
There was, okay.
Yeah, it hasn't been like years or anything like that. But like Kate usually takes 1 or 2 items at a time. And I don't know why why they're even bothering with these meetings, because all it was just like giving the chief the floor to talk about everything that he thought was wrong.
Sure.
With the report, which is interesting, but like most of it's pretty deep in the weeds. And then, you know, you have people who follow this stuff really closely, like John and Tom, like making good points. And then you have, you know, the other thing. You have Fred Nathan and David Webb, who are just fun. But anyway, yeah. What's that?
It's just a bummer. You know,
It is, yeah.
It's a lot of it too is the tone. I mean, look, we can agree here that David is. I think we both agree. David's pretty fucking grating when he comes to a meeting. I don't know that I would keep my cool. But the thing that sucks is having to listen to people like Mo that shitty fucking lawyers that can figure out to impress like people who don't know any better with the I'm a lawyer routine, so I know what I'm fucking talking about. When they couldn't fucking out logic, you know, a philosophy 101 student at a community college. But they still have that air of arrogance, like they have some fucking idea what they're doing. It's just embarrassing. I mean, like, you know, try to insult David because he's got a lawsuit against the city. Like, why doesn't Mo make sure we're all clear on how many times that he's run cover doing defense work for police officers, right? Like, we totally understand, or their family members. Like, I don't know.
He didn't even have the courage to say David's name. He
No.
just said some people, and he made it plural, like, which is a cowardly move. I mean, if you're gonna do it, just do it. Yeah. It's it was very, very embarrassing on all fronts, but it wasn't embarrassing in the way it could have been, where the chief gets to talk for forever, and then Candy and Mo ask some softball questions, and then it gets over. Now we have a slightly different kind of embarrassing, which got David Webb put in the City Hall black site for when you're too annoying. Where the cops, it's in the city handbook somewhere. The cops can sequester you in a room in City Hall until you calm down.
I want to hear more about this video though of David harassing like City Hall office workers, because now this is actually turning into a bizarro episode of The Office, and I could get into that.
Dude, it's like just like a regular guy at a cubicle in the HR department. It's like not even you wouldn't call this a person a public figure. Like, it's just some guy who works at City Hall. We're gonna, if we can find it.
That's where I say, like, guy behind the desk in the cubicle at City Hall, your pension ain't worth it, man. That's do the right thing.
Yeah.
Just make sure the camera's live.
All right. If I can find this, I'll put it up. But oh my God, is it body cam? Oh, okay. Yeah, we should watch this. This is folks. He's wearing a body camera. The man's wearing a body camera. He's not even sponsored by Exxon. Exxon, folks. All right. I haven't seen this yet. Oh my God. How do I make this more full screen? Can I?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, it's so annoying that I share it, but it doesn't come up on the screen. Okay, all right, there it is. Yeah, I guess that's as big as it can be made. But
I'd appreciate it if you turned it off. I think I have the right to request that be turned off.
I disagree with you.
But I have the right to request that. And
You're incorrect.
I'm sorry?
You are incorrect.
I have the right to request.
Sure, you have the right to request.
And so therefore, as a right to request, I could also not continue this conversation.
Sure. So I'm here requesting a copy of this code of conduct for City Hall because it says in there that they're on the abridged version in the front that the unabridged version is available from customer service. I came to customer service, who sent me here. I asked this person respectfully for a copy. I talked to you, talked to them, and now you're here telling me I can't record. So you can ask me not to record if you would like to.
No, I asked you not to record me. So therefore, please turn that off and not record me.
I asked you to just be a little chill.
And yet continue to record.
You're not
With all due
recording.
respect, I have the right to record, and you do not actually.
With all due respect, I'm asking you to not record me. I have that right.
You have the right to ask me. There's zero obligation for me to fulfill it. So
And I have no obligation to help.
Okay, so Mark, what was your job here again?
We're done. We're done.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I will wait until you can give me that code of conduct.
Okay, why don't you have a seat? Take your camera with you, please, sir. Please take your camera off our counter. And I have asked you repeatedly to stop recording me.
Sir, I don't know if you're new here, but you don't actually have the right to insist I go on the board.
Sir, I have a right to personal response.
That's about as much of that as I can take.
What the fuck?
If you want to see more, just go to the Facebook page and scroll past 45 posts a day.
You know what I think we need is we need to get the guy who's going around Worcester with the sex doll in the wheelchair, bringing his own ring light everywhere he goes. We need to get him into City Hall and just
Yes.
have all this going at each other. That's
Yeah,
just
that
give
and
up
the
any
TikTok
hope. Yeah, just give up any hope at all of City Council ever accomplishing anything.
The CVS one? Oh no. What's the? Oh, there's a YouTube version. Oh my god. Yeah, that's the YouTube version. Gio posted up there. The Struggle Brother. Yeah. That guy is something else. But anyway, I think that's a good note to end on.
It's a terrible note to end on, but it's the appropriate note to end on.
Yeah, like I love being involved in city politics. I think it's interesting. It's good to build community. It's fun. If I ever get to the point where I am videotaping a low-level human resources employee for not complying with my requests, take me out to the shed. I'm done. Take me out to the shed. I've lost the plot. Take me out back. Because that's like, what are we even doing? You know? Yeah. But he just has the doll's head and feet now? Oh boy. That's fucked. All right. What do you say, Brendan? We ready
I'm
to call
done.
it? Yeah.
I am done.
I am done too. Well, thank you everyone for watching and for having a good time talking about colleges and stuff. That's a wrap for us. Woot Nanny does stuff. I have a newsletter, and Brendan never plugs anything.
I got Fortnite. I play Fortnite.
Yeah, he plays Fortnite. Which you don't need to plug. You can just do. You can just do that. Yeah. What else? Nothing else.
No, that's it.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Have a great night.